And I guess I'm live. Oh, I mean, if it says end stream, that's probably a pretty clear indicator that there is a stream to end. Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. But it's fine. I'll be okay. Hi, everybody. I just saw. Oh, look at that! The Ten of Swords with the Holy See. There's this new dude who I've been enjoying watching lately, and he just posted a video titled "Trial by Water," and at first I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Um, so to stand in solidarity with this man that I don't even know personally, but who's pretty cool. I guess I decided to come on and do this. So nerves, y'all might as well go away because we're doing this regardless. And I just want to pull some cards for myself, and then we'll just see what comes out. So I have the Angelarium, I have the Demon Tarot, and then I have the SKT. I chose these two because they give you the light and the dark side of the situation, kind of, sort of. And I've I don't know. We'll see what comes out. This will be for me. So if y'all don't want to watch, then it's fine. And I'm actually gonna keep this up. I'm not gonna like private it or whatever. So we'll just see what comes out, shall we? I do want to start with the SKT first, and then we'll get into the other ones. And I don't really have a structure. I was kind of sort of gonna do this how I do, like would do a personal. But honestly, with the personal, like there are spreads that I've built. There are other spreads that I've come across. Excuse me, and whatever feels like it's appropriate for the time is what I would do. So there's one that came to my mind. It's the house spread that I actually built around the SKT. And we're gonna get into that, and then we'll just see. Let me bring it up and see if I'm feeling it, or if I should just go for it. It's 5:32 right now. That's a 5-5. I am so scared right now because I feel like I've read myself on here, kind of, but I mean, dude was just like super, like just going in, and I mean, it's me reading me, so there's nothing to hide. But he didn't do it live. He just straight up uploaded it. And I was like, I could just straight up upload it, but then I'm like, you ain't been straight up uploading nothing, so what's different now? What you scared for? What you scared for? Self? Don't be scared. Okay, let's see. Wow, I don't even use this space anymore. Mm-hmm. Woo! I don't think this is what I want, because this is more geared towards something specific. So let's go to the majors and let's see if there's something in there. What's the High Priestess spread? It's this one. I should have planned this before I just came live, shouldn't I? But I didn't. So just bear with me while I figure out how exactly I want to do this. Because I don't know if any of these are necessarily. And I never finished the Acropolis spread. So this will be the shape. And I don't have any meanings associated with it because it never came to me. And so, ooh, the Queen of Swords with the Two of Swords at the bottom of the deck. I don't know if that's like, don't do it. Don't do it. With the Page of Swords at the cut. I mean, with all these swords. Okay. So we're going to go for the Acropolis style. And I'm just going to pull all these straight off the top instead of getting jumpers. And so, and again, I never finished building this out. All I have is like the layout. I didn't assign the numbers or the meanings. But I think I'm just going to go with it. I keep seeing the Lovers at the cut. Oh, come on. This is actually how we'll do this. It wouldn't be so bad if like there weren't people that I actually know in real life who know this channel, but that's fine. I'm a weirdo, okay? I wasn't gonna preface this with any of that because I was like, I'm better than that. But am I? Am I really? Okay. Hold up, wait. We'll put this down here. This down here. And then we'll pull this one right here. And again, like I never actually finished assigning anything to these spaces. So we're just going to go with it. And I got 2 windows, so bottom of the deck is the champion. Oh my gosh, I don't think I've ever been this nervous in my life. At least not on here. I feel like I've done something like this before. So this will be on the left. I'm just going to keep going until something comes out. So there will be no timestamps on this video. There will be nothing extra because ain't nothing to timestamp. Ain't nothing to timestamp. Shoot. But I guess the point of this is for me to be as open and honest with a lot of my internal everything. At least to this point where I am in my life right now. And kind of sort of how I've been navigating through everything, or what I've been observing in the space of everything. And again, I never finished building these out because when I first started it, it was like whatever it was like it was too old. too subconscious, too far beneath the surface to really pull meaning from. And it even took me a while to like get this much down. And this is around the energy of the Hierophant. And so I ended up going for a more modern alternative to this one, that is the pulpit spread instead of the Acropolis. And it's like the Acropolis is like an ancient temple. I think, is the Acropolis a temple to Athena or Apollo? Let me see. And if there's anything that anyone can take out of any of this besides just knowing me, I guess, or whatever, then feel free. But again, I'm gonna try to be as open and honest as it calls for. The Acropolis. Thank you. It's the Acropolis of Athens, but just because it's in Athens doesn't mean it's dedicated to Athena. 4.8 stars out of 5. Okay. Work. It's closed now, though. It opens at 8 a.m. It's an ancient citadel. Oh, hold it. The Parthenon. Oh, I didn't know that there were more than one Acropolis. It's just like the highest point in the city, but it's the Parthenon. Who is this? After the first Athenian king, who was a serpent man? Girl, now we talking about lizard people. What? That's interesting. Okay, so we're just gonna not, because this is gonna be longer than it needs to be. Okay, so come over here first. I did not mean to slam those down like that. Oh my gosh. Also, I need to get into like a space. So the intention is set. Okay, that was way too much. But I guess we'll take... Oh, this is way too much. That's like 6. I get 6 cards in this deck. That's funny. Alright, we got a sense of humor. Get a sense of humor! I was kidding! That video of, it was Dating a Sagittarius by Benito Skinner. Benito. Okay. I wish I could, like, really sit with my spine, like, aligned. Okay. We'll do it this way so I can get a card face down. Maybe it's more comfortable coming out that way. Oh, almost. It almost flipped over. We'll just take that one. Let's just pray we don't get bored of each other. That song has been in my mind. Each other. And then the companion light to this dark. Watch it be like Smithiel or something. Or it'd be like Dayot or... I was so actually wondering about Dayot the other day. With him being sort of the void and the in-between. And it's like him being in the tree but not being in the tree, in the space where they all play. It's almost like a gateway to the other side of the tree, where instead of this light principle, it operates more on a pigment principle. Whereas, like, on this, in reality and physicality over here, it's like heat is a thing. Cold isn't really a thing. Cold is more of an absence of heat, right? And then we have where dark isn't necessarily a thing. Dark is just an absence of light. But over there, it's like, what if dark is a thing, and then light is just the absence of dark, Where if cold is a thing, but heat is just the absence of cold. And so it runs the same or operates the same in some ways, but with a different sort of fundamental principle. I'm really feeling nervous, and nothing is coming out. And is this a sign? No, it's not a sign. Oh, goodness. Maybe it's just not where it needs to be yet. For the folks coming in later, we're just rolling with it, okay? I may not even be paying a lot of attention to the chat, not that I necessarily have to. Why is this so far? Hold up, I do want to fix this a little bit, if I can. A little bit. I should really probably turn on this light up here. Can you feel it going in the air tonight? Oh no. I don't even know that song. Oh yeah. I'm gonna get a face down. Work! Okay. So bottom of the deck is Phanuel, the Angel of Truth. We have this here. Bottom of this stack is, watch it be like brooms or something. Over here it's Yanganti Tan. Okay. And I know about Yanganti Tan. Yanganti Tan provides light to travelers. Now the thing about Yanganti Tan is it's kind of sort of along the energy of a will-o'-the-wisps or whatever. And if you already have a light, it can kind of sort of distract you. If you don't have a light, it can aid you. So it's a little bit of a trickster, but then we also have the Angel of Truth here. So I feel like that's accurate, especially when I was younger. When I was younger, I would just lie sometimes for no reason. And then it was like I would lie for no reason, not about anything serious, but it was like sometimes instead of like being sarcastic, I would just like lie about something. And then, but the one thing was that, like, if you ever asked me if I was lying, I would tell the truth. And I don't know, it was just like my body would just like automatically respond with the truth. So if someone was like, "Are you lying to me?" and I was lying, I'd just be like, "Yeah." Before I could even like whatever. I'm not a great liar. I'm only good at like lying or flirting or anything like that when I'm not doing it intentionally. Right? Like if I'm being sarcastic or whatever, then I'm great. I'm amazing. If I need to be, um, if I need to be any of that, or if I want to be any of that, that's where I run into issue. One second. One moment. Sorry, y'all. I gotta reply to this real quick. All right. Now we're back. What was I talking about? I need some water, y'all. I also need to not distract myself. Why did I pull my phone out? I feel like I pulled up my phone for some reason. That I can't remember. Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. Where do I start? Well, we start at the top, obviously. Then we look at the corners. And we fill things in from there. Oh yeah, I was talking about how I would just lie like all the time when I was younger. Not like all the time, all the time. Somebody one day I was like, it's habitual. I can't help it, or something like that. And I can't. Again, I don't. Whenever I need to, I can't. It's always in the space of like basically telling a joke or being sarcastic or like April Fools or something like that, right? Lying, flirting, whatever. All right, I'm gonna stop drinking water because if I don't, I'm gonna just down this whole bottle. Um, but yes, it's 5:51 right now. It's almost 5:55. So now is as good a time as any to let's just get into the heart of all. Internal screaming intensifies. I can't. Ah. Okay. Where did these cards go? Oh my gosh. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't like this, but you know what? Oh, it's upside down for y'all. That's fine. So again, I didn't put any meanings to anything on the table. All right, we're just going for it. We don't know what's gonna happen today. We don't take things at face value over here. Okay, I just want to preface this by saying that I don't know why. Oh, well, let's get into it. Let's get into it. So y'all can't even see. Y'all can tell by the horns. The card that came out at the top of all of this is this devil card. And I'm like, yeah, I got 2 planets in Capricorn, and 2 is the most I have of anything in anything. And then it's crossed by the Archangel of Mysteries. Now, this is interesting because the Archangel of Mysteries is the angel who's permitted to walk the realms of both light and shadow, right? And so the Archangel of Mysteries holds a sort of affiliation to the light, and everything is for the purpose of the light. But again, you can sort of find her on any level. Um, she's kind of sort of the only one who has that kind of sort of privilege, right? Excuse me. So to walk all, one must understand all. And I mean that kind of sort of is related to why I pulled like the Angelarium and then the Demon Tarot. And then I guess I shouldn't have been surprised that the demon came out. Oh my gosh. And there's something about the lovers, there's something about humanity here. But there's also an energy of like violation. Let's look at the 4 corners. So we have the sun here with the warrior, and we have the 2 of Wands, the discerning one. So Aries energy, Leo energy. Is this Leo or the sun? It's the sun. How come the sun is the sun but the moon ain't the moon? That's what I don't understand. Over here we have the 6 of Cups, the memory keeper, which I always kind of sort of get whenever I do stuff like this. And then down here is the contender with the 5 of Wands. So the Two of Wands and the Five of Wands, and it's also interesting because in the Demon card we have the Phoenix and the Dragon that are both chained, but in the Memory Keeper they're babies, right? They're like still in the eggs, and that's the Phoenix represents feminine energy, the Dragon represents masculine energy. And I don't know where we're going with this, but I mean, after that, I feel like it's not going to get too much more crazy. And then I feel like we need to know what these are to complete the. Well, I would also need to know what this is. Down here is the Hector, the Five of Swords. And so this is interesting. You have the Warrior and the Hector, and the Memory Keeper. What is that? That's so room. It's like Dagaz or Menaz, one of those. It's 5:56. I missed 5:55 by a minute. That's fine. Now these two I've seen. I can't remember if they're together. Two fives, a two, a one, a six, and then another six. Two fives, two sixes. I feel like sometimes to understand stuff, and I kind of sort of fall into this trap now, but it's like seeing things from both sides. But sometimes to really see things from both sides, you have to live multiple sides, right? That's why people who go through periods of reform are so good at helping other people who are in difficult situations, or in just like getting people, helping people navigate spaces of transformation in general, right? And again, I don't, there's no structure to this, so I don't really know how I'm feeling this. But if we start up here, what all is that energy? That energy is shadow. The energy is the dark. It's the absence of light. But then here we have this Archangel of Mysteries with the orb inside the lantern. But it's like instead of having a light inside the lantern, there's the dark. Oh goodness, I don't know where we're going with this, but it's like it's bringing to mind things that it's like they're slightly off. And it's kind of sort of like I was saying earlier. I keep looking at my webcam as if it's on, and I intentionally turned it off. um, I could turn it back on. Why not? Because that part of the screen up there is all whatever anyway, and tilted and swilted. Hi everyone. Hello. It's me. I also like I added a little picture, just like titles and everything else. I was like, I want to put a picture on here. The picture I was gonna put on here, maybe maybe I'll still go back and put it on there. And I didn't feel like looking through all my pictures, so I found this one with me with this like tiny little Santa hat that was like $1 at Walmart on clearance. I think it was actually cheaper than $1. Um, but I put that on here, so hi, right? Also, I'm like all the way back here, you know. But it's kind of sort of like what I was saying about these spaces um, where it's like on the other side of the coin, it's like light is the absence of darkness instead of darkness being the absence of light. And so there's something about that energy here because it's like instead of it being a light in the lantern, it's this darkness. And with this energy here, it's like when you have two things trying to occupy the same space and they kind of sort of begin to break away. It's like if you've ever seen a show, like probably sci-fi, and there's like timeline shifting or spaces merging on top of other spaces, and then you get like people stuck inside of buildings or something because things try to pop up, something tried to pop up on top of something else. There's something that defies nature here. It's weird. I don't know where I'm going with this, y'all. Just take this journey with me, I guess. Because again, like if you bring this fire from a place where, or if you bring this darkness, I guess, from a place where it is a thing, and then you put it into the space where light is a thing, then it's like this darkness is no longer defined as the absence of light. It's defined as it is, but then you overlay that on top of, and you overlay that in this space where darkness is the absence of light. And so you have, that's the competition between these two things, because it's like whenever, it's like her lantern is magic and it preserves the properties of the thing from the space it was attained in. And I guess that's her ability to sort of help guide lost souls from one dimension or realm to the next, right? From the lowers to the uppers, and vice versa. But there's something about this that's like slightly out of place, because then it's like you have this darkness and then you have this light, and they're trying to occupy the same space where one isn't the absence of the other. But because this darkness in here isn't the absence of light in here, it plays a certain role or it looks a certain way, but it interacts in a way that's completely different. It's like something that's been overlaid on top of something else, and it's kind of sort of out of place. I don't know where this is going or what this is. And then we have the Hector down here, which is the Five of Swords energy. So it's taken a place. So this is going to win out over whatever else. But then we have the Warrior and the Discerning One with the Memory Keeper and the Contender. And the Hector kind of sort of is a bully. Like to Hector somebody, and Hector is related to the Trojan War. He was slain by Achilles. Hector was like undefeatable. Achilles was vulnerable, and the vulnerability beat out. And so in that there's a lesson here. Also, we see the bullhead from that Holy Sea energy, right? Where am I going with this? So the cardinal directions are still not known, but we have these crosses. Cam. This is so interesting. Here's this little bird with wings, and it's holding a sword. You see it? It's holding that sword? Maybe not. It's holding that sword. And then here, there's one hand on these two swords. There's a foot on one of the swords. But his hand is like, he's like about to like keep going, even though there's like literally nobody else left to fight. Hand on one sword, hand on one sword. So let's read it. Well, can I believe I've read this before, but let's see what it's about. Oh goodness, that's Kali. Why can I get Kali? Kali's my girl. Maybe it means something if I like Kali. I don't know. Toxic masculine energy is trash. Let's see. Are we gonna read the whole thing? I like reading the last two. The inspiration and then the divination. So the inspiration is, although many daemons are said to have answers regarding the past, present, and future, Cain is unique in that his speciality is given to be premonitions, only of the future. His form is also somewhat unique. Unlike the raven, the common blackbird was not considered a particularly evil or dark omen in folklore. Perhaps there were simply too many of this very Perhaps there were simply too many of this very common bird to be considered frightening. As with Beelzebub's flies, Cain's brother and sister, blackbirds, may have been his eyes throughout the world, allowing him to pick up news and use that knowledge to predict the future. Cain also apparently, oh wait, Cain was apparently able to teach those who summoned him how to understand the thrushes, as well as the calls of all other birds and animals, and even the sounds of the rivers and oceans, so that the summoner might be able to use this knowledge. The divination here is focus on listening to ambient sounds for calm, relaxation, and inspiration. Okay, I don't know why I read that last part. And that's interesting because, and I literally just talked about it earlier today, when I got into the cards, it came to me like divination is the only thing I'm gonna do. Like anything else, it's not for me, particularly. I ain't gonna say whatever, it's just not for me, right? And it was like you don't need to worry about protection this and protection that. You'll be fine. Huh. My uncle just sent me a friend request. Turns out I have an uncle, and I went to school with this one girl, and we were cousins, and I didn't even know that. And see, I'm of the type that family is family, doesn't matter if it's blood or acquired or chosen, right? And so my grandmother was the foster, maybe parent of this man. And I went to school with his daughter. And then when I graduated, my dad was in town and he was like, oh, he saw his brother, who is this man whose daughter I literally went to school with from like middle school. And then he was like, yeah, this is like your uncle. I was like, what? That's my cousin? I didn't even know that. He's a pastor and he just sent me a friend request on Facebook. Anyway, I was like, divination is going to be the only thing that I get into. And then it's like, Cain is interesting because, he specializes in the future. Well, what's over here? Over here is. I knew it! I told y'all, watch it be Samikio. Over here is Samikio, Angel of Vengeance. Girl, I knew he was going to come out. For whatever reason. So we have the warrior, the discerning one, the Hector, the contender, the memory keeper, the archangel of mysteries, and then the demon. We have Cain that specializes in the future, also in communicating. We'll just say with nature, girl. The birds, other animals, even the rivers and the streams. He teaches them to listen to. So basically, Earth in the many forms that she takes, right? More or less. Can you tell that I'm still like, let's just go for it? So the warrior and the discerning one is interesting. I actually want to see what's on this branch. So these are Cain focused, which is more about the future. This is Samikyo focused, which is about like retribution and stuff like that. We'll just find them, shall we? Simi, girl, who is this? Oh, Azrael. I was like, what? That's Ram. I'm pretty sure Samikyo is on the left side. On the left side, here he is. Samikyo, Angel of Vengeance. When the time comes, we all call its name. It is ever the instinct in our throat when we seek retribution. We choke on it even as we languish in every syllable. But those who call on Samikyo without cause will have harm fall back upon them threefold. It is the way of Samikyo's sword, cutting in both directions. While we will gird our fragile hearts against being hurt, pain will make its attempts on us by any means necessary. That's also interesting because I had talked about that dream earlier too. It is in our soul to survive at all costs, even if it means violence. Try to resist the urges of your barbed heart. Samikyo knows not forgiveness. The signs are a sword, a thorny branch, and pierced skin. The sword in here, swords down here. I do want to read the top part of Cam, because why not? Kali, here he is. This is the annotation. Came as a fallen angel, first appearing in Ware's pseudodemonii, hold on, wait, let me actually read this word. Pseudo-monarchia daemonin. And Caim, as Caim, C-A-I-M, and later given the alias Cameo in the Goetia, or Goetia, or whatever. Ware ranks him as a president of Hell, one of many presidents listed by Ware, with no mention as to which committees they are presiding over. Committees? Girl, what? With 30 legions of demons under his command, Caim has been depicted as both a blackbird of the thrush family and a man with a pointed sword. In Dictionnaire, he is given the form of a thrush and the sword he would carry in his human form. Okay. So again, some of people who seek answers regarding the past, present, and future. Caim is unique in that his speciality is given to be premonitions only of the future. Also, he's not a raven, which is interesting. He's a blackbird. And blackbirds and thrushes don't get the same sort of ominous that ravens and crows get, which is also interesting. And the book said maybe it's because they're too common. Maybe it's because everybody wants to know the future. What am I doing? So we have Samikyo on this side, and then we have Caim on this side. Samikyo is interesting because when I did an Akashic Records reading for myself, since I'm talking about it, I might as well talk about it, right? Let me find it, what the cards were exactly. And it came out in the Forefathers. And it was in the space of needing to do more than just observe. And stuff like that. Here it is. And I just read it like the other night. Or are they? This is interesting. Oh my gosh. What? I did this Akashic Records reading, right? Look at this. Look at what card came out to clarify this card. The Demon and the Archangel of Mysteries. This is not the first time I've seen those two together. Wow. But this in this space, it was just like the three closest spirits. And what did I write? Well, I remember what I wrote. Tempter of man and tool for his ascension, his presence is one that can be used for forward movement like any other. The challenge is to be aware of his presence and to see the play behind his position. His message is the Archangel of Mysteries. That which has eluded you for so long has been brought to the light. The cage opens, the 10th orb free, treasure, and blah 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 blah. 11 value Hershey is released to your care and protection. Do not be a prison. You are free from yours so that you may be the ground on which she... Okay. I gotta have some kind of boundaries, right? Anyway, they came out together, and it was basically that, like, I've navigated through my own difficulties and hardships to have a certain element of I feel like this is so completely different, but it's fine. I've navigated through my own to have a sort of understanding and to be a little softer. And it was, but anyway, let's get back into the forefathers. Forefathers, here they are. So it was the Chancellor, the Gardener, and the Warrior. Justice, the Seven of Pentacles, and the Sun. And that was, there's a time for peace and a time for war. Do not forget your strength as protector. It is your duty to see things, to perceive threats, to raise your sword only when it's deemed necessary, and to be unbiased. It is likewise your call to raise the sword when it is deemed necessary. And so with that part, again, it's like, I'm an observer. It's what I do. The discerning one with the sun, anything the light touches, I see. And the things that remain in the dark, I have other ways of seeing, right? I might dream about it if I care enough. Even if I don't care, apparently, I sometimes still dream about stuff. And I'm like, okay, great. That's information I didn't want or need. And then we have the memory keeper and the contender over here. Now, the contender is the only card that didn't pop out when I did this, I believe. Everything else came out. And it was like 36 cards, I believe. 36 or 39 cards. It was either 12 or 13 rounds. Excuse me, of 3 cards each. The memory keeper was related to the space of gifts, I believe. The discerning one. Wow! These are all 3 of my life path archetypes. And she put in the, I just followed the book of maps when I did this. She put the titles of the cards reveal to you the key facets of who you are in terms of the roles you occupy in your world. And all 3 of these were those: the memory keeper, the Hector, and the discerning one. Right? The memory keeper, the Hector, and the discerning one. And then here they are. So what did I write here? We cheating. It's fine. Because I don't have any structure to this, so I don't know what I'm going to. The memory keeper. Okay, yeah, we ain't doing that. It's fine. Something about, again, maybe it's this thing about taking things. There's something about the lantern that I was like, it preserves whatever is inside of it as it is, regardless of how that thing interacts with other things in that space. It preserves and maintains all of its natural properties, right? And so I guess it could be the case. I don't know who he was before he fell. That's interesting. I mean, it is the contender. No. Again, it's all an interesting thought experiment at this point, okay? So just take the ride with me, because I'm on whatever this is with y'all, apparently. So we know that Cain fell. But it's like, what if this Archangel of Mysteries put him in the lamp, took him to that space, and then released him? because it's like through falling, there's a certain amount of loss and corruption and stuff like that, change. But if he took the elevator that is her lantern, he would occupy that space but remain unchanged. Hey, Bloomin' Rose, girl, don't ask me what we doing today, but we doing it. Hi, how are you doing? And that's why this blackbird doesn't have the same associations as the crows and the ravens, because he took her lantern to this space. It's almost like this double agency type energy. I love it. You're good. Glad to hear it. Interesting. I know, right? I feel like I've done this before. Or did I do it for myself? No, I didn't do it because I didn't have any spaces. We on the birds. I've been on birds, apparently, particularly hawks and falcons, peregrines and kestrels. But then we have Samikiel over here. Samikiel. So what if it's like one of these things? I did kind of sort of see it that way, but I was like, I don't have any points. So we have the warrior, the Samikiel, the angel of vengeance, and then the discerning one. Now, when it comes to Samikiel, we were told in the entry, if Rose comes and goes, the ravens follow. I have never heard that before, but that's really interesting. I've never heard that. And that's the thing with Samikiel sword, is that it cuts both ways. And I think that's what this discernment is here for. And then we have the memory keeper and the contender with Cain. Now, Cain specializes on the future and premonitions of the future. It's not, seeing the future accurate. It's a premonition. So things can change. Things are mutable. But it also said that all of the other blackbirds are Cain's eyes and ears, right? Cain can even apparently listen to the rivers and the streams and other animals. So any animal, he kind of sort of talks to all of them. And so there's this interesting intersection here that involves a certain element of foresight. It would be so interesting if like Cain was Samikiel before it fell, right? That would be like, oh my gosh. Anyway. And then we have Phanuel. Well, what's at the bottom? The champion. Wait, what is this? What is this? Then I was like, it would be so funny if Dayot came out. Dayot is just up here chilling. And again, it was like, because Dayot is kind of sort of this vortex, is this space where it's like it's like this mirror that you can actually reach into and come out on the other side. On the side where light is the absence of darkness and heat is the absence of cold, and instead of on this side where it's darkness is the absence of light and cold is the absence of heat. And then he was just chilling right there the whole time, just like face down. Because I was looking at the bottoms of all the decks and I noticed this card still up there. So it's this null space. And it exists in the tree, but it's outside of the tree. And again, it's giving me her energy. But it's like this lantern is a relic, and she's just the one that's entrusted with it, if that makes any sense. It's like the lantern predates her, but she inherits it. Why does it give me like almost TARDIS-y type vibes? And I picked the TARDIS door the other day, and then the Time Master came out. I was like, interesting. But then I guess the question here would be, if you're from this place, the keeper of the light from the ancestors. Shout out to the ancestors. This is interesting because if there is this darkness from a place where darkness has prevalence, how does it interact in a space to create light when where it comes from, light is the absence of darkness? Or like the way it's like, how does this energy interact with the world when it's like out of place? It's like it's out of phase somehow. It's out of sync. It's almost like a ghost. It's like a corporeal ghost. It's like a ghost with a body, but it's just like slightly out of phase with everything else. But not so out of phase that it doesn't interact. Oh my gosh, this is Peter! This is Peter Bishop! I'm not going to say what show it's from because then I didn't throw out the spoiler alert before I said who it was. That's Peter Bishop. Someone who's out of phase with everything else. And then there came a point in time where he had to decide which world he wanted to sort of end up in. The world where he was born or the world where he was raised. And he met somebody that he fought for. Okay, anyway. Let's start here where they all... Well, we'll do that one last. So we'll do it like this. Oh, well, I'm not surprised. We got the Hanged Man down here. And then we have the Page of Swords, Stronghold of the Zephyrs up here. The Stronghold of the Zephyrs is the one from the Unformed Lands. She's the page from the Unformed Lands. We'll try to see what her message is. What's her message? What she want me to know? The Contender is the only card that I didn't see that night. It's so interesting. Can I get a card, please? Does she have a message, or is she her own message? Maybe that... Oh, well, there we go. Bottom of the deck now is the Conservator. A Protector. I'm supposed to be a Protector. You know. People find... Oh, we got two. Like that energy. The Chariot with the Will of Life. The Chariot with the Will of Life. And that's the message of this little angel up here. I think that's the challenge here. I think the challenge is learning how to operate in this space where everything is so backwards. Hey, Zelda. It's fine. It's in the past. Yeah, I mean, I assumed it was by the end of the night. So don't worry about it. This is interesting. And this is interesting because this is like, these two energies have literally been my whole life. Like, literally my whole life. Because I'm like, these things that people do and the things that people say, to me, don't line up. Like, there's something off about all of this. And I feel like that's something that mirrors and echoes in a lot of spaces. It's like what we say, what we speak, and what we intend, and then that correlation on the other side. It's like there's always been this mismatch. There's also observers in that show. There's also observers in that show. And one of the things, okay, so I'm not gonna say what show this is, so I'm gonna be try to be as vague as I can about it because it's an amazing show and it's an older show. But if you ever come across it, I want it to be a fresh experience for you. So in this show, there are these class of beings that are observers, and the observers come from the future. Now we don't know that the observers come from the future until like the last season of the show. Okay, so but they come from the future and they only observe. Now what happens was it's we're dealing with parallel universes. And so on one side a boy lives, on the other side a boy dies. And so the boy is born to a genius. And on one side the genius finds the cure, on the other side the genius doesn't. I'm trying to remember how this happens. So the genius who lost his son developed a technology to see onto the other side, to see into this other reality. And so in this other reality, no, he didn't develop it. Okay, yeah, that's what happened. So this is what happens. Okay, it's coming back to me. So he develops this window that allows him to see into this parallel dimension, this parallel universe, this parallel reality. And through that window, he's watching his alternate self come up with the cure to save his son. Now, there's also these observers who apparently have the ability to just like walk in between realms. They're basically the archangels of mysteries, okay? And so what happened was the moment that the other genius discovered this cure was a big moment. And so one of the observers wanted to witness this moment. Oh, Blooming Rose, I'm putting that on my list because that sounds like something I would like. That sounds like something I would like. So I'm gonna put that in this little note. Not that note. I'll put it in this little note. Ooh, not that note either. I'll put it in this little note. Not that note. I'll put it in this little note right here. This note will do. You said the King Eternal. Got it. It was made in South Korea. Girl, Bloomin' Rose, by this point, I'm not going to be surprised anymore. When you told me to listen to, was it Winter Rose or something like that? Or Winter Flower? I was like, wait, were you directing me to a Korean song? And you're like, yeah, okay. I was like, all right, it was beautiful. So I'm going to have to read some subtitles. Got it. I never got into like K-dramas. I had a friend who got really into K-dramas. I never really got into dramas. There was one, it's a Chinese drama called Brown Sugar Macchiato, and I loved the theme song. And so I wanted to get into it. Wildflower. Wait, was that it? I thought it had like a snowflake in it or something. Okay, but where was I? So yeah, so we have this observer watching the other genius develop this cure, and then we have our genius watching this other genius develop the cure. And what happened was at the pivotal moment where the indicator chemical in the compound, it changes color to signal a success, but it wasn't stabilized. And so we have the observer who interrupts the other genius. The chemical compound gives us the indicator, but he's occupied by the observer, and so he doesn't see that it changed color, but it wasn't stable, so the color went back, right? And then so our genius, who was only looking into this window, the other genius gave up because he thought it was another failure, right? But our genius didn't want his son to die again, even though his son had already died, but this other son that was his. And so Snowflower as well. Okay, so there's two of them. Gotcha. And so he goes to the other side to give that boy the medicine, but What happens is he trips, and the little vial of medicine that he took with him broke. And so he took the boy to this side to give him the medicine to save his life. And he doesn't take the boy back. And so now there's this whole situation about a missing son, and there's also where two things try to occupy the same space. It's because something from this dimension was lost, and now the universe at large is trying to compensate for this loss in these other areas. And so we don't find out that the other parallel universe is just like falling apart until, like, because this happened before the show starts. Why am I talking about this? I don't remember where I was going with that. But then I think that also there's something about understanding reciprocity. And with that being one of the laws that can't be violated. Because it's like the world itself will try to correct some of these things. And when humanity interferes with that correction, it leads to further and further grievances. So this dude, he grows up, right? He used to have nightmares about being kidnapped, and we find out that his nightmares are actually real. But he was so traumatized by his nightmares that basically, in order to get over it, he learned how to not remember his dreams because he was afraid of the nightmares. And so now that whole dream space he's disconnected from. Anyway, we got the Wheel of Fortune and the Chariot up here. We got the Hangman down here. This is so interesting. I don't know where this is going. And this is like completely different. But that's fine. I'm okay with that. We also have three majors here. The Chariot and the Wheel of Fortune against the Outlaw. I forgot where I was going with this. But let's continue, shall we? So now I want to look at these. We have the Dark Horse and the Malaise. The Dark Horse is fighting. The Malaise is standing guard and ready for her shift to be over. Also, it's like we have movement up here. We have movement and we have change down here, and then stagnation here. There's fighting here, and then there's like weariness here. Well, let's look at the two extremes. The Star and the Blind Seer. We have one that's kind of sort of reserved, holding those swords, and then another that's more free-flowing, pouring the water out into these two different things. Also, one blindfolded, one not blindfolded. This is so, like, again, it's like it's this energy. It's about opposites trying to occupy the same space. But since this one came from a different space, they don't interact like they usually do. Story of my life, honestly. I feel like I'm more confused now than I've ever been. Where is this from? Because I feel like this demon is how this energy appears in this space. So it would have to be like the angel in the other space, wouldn't it? Queen of Swords, she ain't come all the way out. Because I guess the reason why I ask, maybe I should have used one where I'm actually like got the placements figured out, so this could have been cohesive. But we'll go with it. I can figure it out. It's me, right? I know me? Question mark. Bottom of the deck now is the Emperor with that Archangel Commander. I'm trying to organize these so I can get the same energy sort of like mirrored and reflected on both sides. So the warrior and the contender, I get. And then we have the discerning one with the memory keeper. That I also get. So we have the healer and the warrior and the discerning one. It's like, and then we have Samikio's blade that cuts both ways. It's like it can heal or it can hurt. That's the energy of like basically all medicines. It's all about dosage. This makes sense. These, I mean, I guess I could do this. Why not, right? Because then we have majors up here and then we got the minors down here. This is the stuff that goes down in the dark, I guess. Might as well look at the card between them. The card between them is the dynasty. The card between them is the dynasty. Dayat, the tree of life. Here's Dayat right there. You can see this space right here that has no orb, but every other space has that orb. That's the void right here. And then Dayat was here chilling on the table as that void space. I'll be right back. I gotta go to the restroom. I'm sorry. I know, I know. Quick. I'll wash my hands, don't worry. And I am going to grab the Energy Oracle card because I love them. Also, probably going to grab some Magical Dimensions. Do I want to grab those first? I'll grab these first. I mean, I already have them in hand. To clarify some of this up. And it came to my mind. I actually had a dream about an elevator. So in this dream, I'll tell y'all about the whole dream because that's what this is. This is the less filtered, everything, come watch me, read me type of whatever. I kind of want to put these all upright. Sure, we'll put them all upright right now. I had this dream that I was in this auditorium and there was this company, a very large company, very prestigious company, and the leadership was changing hands. And so at one point, all of these people come from backstage and they're selecting who the successor will be. And hey, there's the temple path. It's upright. The temple path is with the world. And then that gosh darn woman holding a coin. I'll never look at the woman holding a coin the same. After she came out, I was like, you dashed my hopes and dreams. And then there's the door to value. Anyway, so I had this dream, and they were looking for the successor of this company. But the successor of the company, it was basically, there was this energy that it was inheriting. And so I could find the dream in the app. So in the dream, basically, I'm picked to head this company. And it's because of something that's inside. Now, in this dream, it came to the point, I think that's all of them. It came to the point, yeah, it is. It came to the point where they were narrowing down these things. And I was experiencing like this heat in my stomach. And it was just like, I was basically out of it. I was halfway out of it because my body was just like trying to handle whatever was going on in the inside. And there was a question. It's like they asked me who my father was, or like who the father is. But it wasn't my father, like my actual father. And so, again, I'm still like halfway out of it because it's like the heat and the nausea and the pain was that intense. I don't think it was necessarily like pain, but it was more like just burning me alive from the inside. And it just came to my mind. It was a picture of Nick Offerman. And I was like, what's his name? His name is Ron Swanson, maybe? The Dream or Everything on the Table? Blooming Rose. Because I feel like it is, or I would say that it is, but something tells me that alchemy, it's like the alchemy is different. Or wait, or would it be? Everything on the Table. Okay. Hold up, that's a good question, girl. I love how this is Blooming Rose. You always come through. About alchemy of the darkness and light, transformation or awakening of souls. Well, this is supposed to be about me personally, but not at the same time. The dream might pertain to it as well. Yeah. I would say yes, but it's like, it's not straightforward though. And again, I feel like the reason is because of this Archangel of Mysteries and because of her lantern. And it's because, and with Dayat here, that's kind of sort of off the table. I'll put Dayat under. Oh, I can do it this way. Boom. There we go. With Dayat here, and with the lantern of this Archangel of Mysteries, there's something about the way that it works on the other side is not necessarily copy and paste the same way. Well, here's Indecision. And what else? Indecision is so weird. I don't want Indecision. It'll come back out if it wants to. Oh gosh. Well, here goes the headache. Who is this? The Angel of what? Angel of Strength at the bottom of the deck. Covered by Indecision now. So in the dream, basically I'm chosen to, there's this light that ends up inside of me, okay? And I gain my composure enough. Bottom of the deck is the man holding a heart now. Okay, cute. He made like 3 appearances yesterday. He was missing for a long time. I had to find him. I had to hunt for him. I didn't even know he was missing until I went looking for the thinking man and thinking woman, the man holding a heart, the woman holding a heart, and then the man holding a coin and the woman holding a coin. And then I was like, where's the man holding a heart? Okay. Yeah. But like, so in the dream, I'm basically selected to head this company. There's this light that's born inside of me. By this point, I'm more so like, I'm no longer cooking on the inside. And so I get in this elevator to come down, but it's like the gravity was affecting me to the point where I couldn't even stand when I got to the ground floor. Like I literally had to crawl out of the elevator because the gravity was too intense. And so then maybe that's another thing. It's about learning, because I think the transmutation is important, but it's about relearning it, because the way that things dance when where things are less dense is very different. Like I literally had to crawl out of the elevator because I just could not stand. And it was like the further down we went, but it was like the ground floor. It's not like I went like to the basement. I came out on the ground floor and I'm like crawling out of the elevator because it was like the further down or the closer to ground level we came, it was like the stronger gravity got, and I just could not handle it. I was like, oh my gosh, why is it so dense? Why is it so dense? Ugh. Um, if I look at it from left to right, oh my gosh. I can already feel myself like trying to get lightheaded just trying to like piece this together. I almost want to switch these two. So let's just go for it. Let's just do it. How do I want to do this? I want 2 cards to link. We'll do these 2. Because then it links these energies. And then I'm thinking about what you were saying, Blood, and I think you're right. But from my perspective in the dream, it was like I had to descend first. And maybe that's what this devil energy up here is. And then, there's like the veil of forgetfulness and everything else that you kind of sort of just gotta remember who you are, or at least how you are. Because in the dream, it was like this happened. Then I had to descend to the ground level to go wherever I was going next. And there was also a dream I had after that. It's so interesting because I've never had, like, consciously, I've never had anything like MS and what I'm assuming MS feels like. But it's like, who this? Ariel. Wait, is she alone? Ariel is with hostilities. Okay, well, where did this go? I guess it goes at the center of all of this. Sure, why not? Bottom of the deck. The man holding a heart. Why don't you just say something? What was I talking about? The dream. It was like I was selected. This angel was basically being born within me. Then I had to descend. Oh, yeah, like I've never had MS. But it's like I almost get like these phantom pains sometimes of like my legs hurting so much or whatever that I can't walk anymore. It's like I got to sit down. And especially like I always associate it to the winter time. And it's like it almost feels like a memory, but I don't think I've ever experienced it in real life. Which one, hostilities or Ariel? Um I don't think I've ever experienced it in real life, but it's like there are a few like sensations. And I guess my moon is in Taurus, and I'm a Taurus rising, so I shouldn't be surprised maybe because Taurus can deal with the physical senses. But like there are these physical sensations that I almost remember, but it's like I feel like I don't have the experience to tie with that memory. But after that dream, I had a few dreams. Oh, the man holding a heart. Okay, gotcha. After that dream, I had a few dreams where like my body was just like I was pregnant in my dreams basically. My back was hurting, my feet were hurting, my legs were hurting. I would have these dreams where like internally I would just like heat up. It's like, oh my gosh. But anyway, did I tell y'all what I thought about in the bathroom? I feel like I didn't. And I don't even remember. It was something about the elevator. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know where this is going. We'll just keep trying to piece this together. Of course. So we have deceit going up here. We'll call that devil energy. Deceit and the woman I said I didn't want to see anymore. The woman holding a coin. Deceit and the woman holding a coin. That's interesting though, because those are kind of sort of two different energies related to this devil Capricornian energy. It's the financial aspect, and then it's also the aspect of the shadow, the illusion, the deceit, the trickery. And then coming down here is the angel of love, And the devil has the lovers tied up. And the man holding a coin. So we go from the man holding a coin to the woman holding a coin up here. And then there's the angel of love here with deceit there. At the heart of this is hostilities and area, second chakra. What does this give me? This is speaking of cycles. It's like the man holding a coin and to the woman holding a coin. There's also, they intersect on the Semikiel. Semikiel is typically associated with vengeance, but if something can cut multiple ways, it could also bless multiple ways. And that's related to the sacral. Over here is hostilities, when it comes to Cain, and it's the angel of love with deceit. What am I doing? I feel like this is not end up being what I thought it would be, but that's fine. Because I honestly didn't know what this would be. I feel like I'm missing it. I feel like I'm missing it. But oops. Okay. So we have the angel of love, we have hostilities, and we have deceit. There is no deceit, or there is no hostility when it comes to love. So anything else is deception, anything else is counterfeit, anything else is fake. True love. There is no hostility. Hold up. No. That doesn't make that. I'm like, if it looked like I just freaked out. I just felt somebody sit on this bed with me. And I just looked over and noticed my little water bottle like laying down. So I'm like, well, if I drop that down, that doesn't feel like somebody literally just sat right next to me on my bed. That's a little freaky. Because now I'm like, okay. Okay. Hey, Miss Vernell. Oof. I'm a little spooks. I'm a little spooks. Oh, it's on my lap. That card just got bent. Illumination, number 23. Illumination is expression, positivity, and joy and inspiration. I don't know where I'm going with this. I kind of sort of want to reset the board, honestly. Because I feel like I've kind of sort of... These could be about creation. The feminine and the masculine aspects of creation. With Ariel here at the second chakra. Over here is love and deceit with hostilities. That's about empty vessels. It's like we're creating, there's this space of creation that's more or less aligned-ish. But over here, it's not carrying through. Oh, okay. I think I'm starting to kind of sort of piece this together. I feel like one of the things that I've pretty much noticed all my life is how misaligned people are, and how what we say and what we do and how we act doesn't line up with what it is that we truly desire. And that's another thing I think that devil energy kind of sort of knows. It just knows what people desire, it knows what everyone wants. But then with this angel of illumination, with the archangel of mysteries, and the illumination card that just came out, it's like no one's really acting in alignment to get it. It's like everything down here is wrong. Excuse me. And that's like, I try not to judge people. I feel like I do a pretty good job, but it's like, it's just wrong. It doesn't get you where you actually want to be. It's not going to get you what you want. And maybe that's another thing. Because I've noticed that I feel like to a minor degree, I have some influence, not influence, on some level, to a minor degree, it's like I feel like one of the properties of the space that I occupy outside of the calming and everything else, because that's more core to who I am, but on the peripheral, on the outside, it's the influence of fortune. It's the chariot in this wheel of fortune. It's turning these wheels in some ways for certain people, especially it's an ability to do that. And that's also related to this space of desire, but it's related to the space of fulfilling desire. Oh. And then there's the memory keeper here. And it's also interesting because I kept seeing the lovers at the cut, right? So the memory keeper, the devil card, and the lovers are the three cards in this deck that depict the phoenix and the dragon. In the memory keeper, they're juvenile. In the lovers, they're mature. And the demon, they're imprisoned. So what's around this lovers card? Let's see. Oh, that's the corruptor. Excuse me? Where is this card? Hello? Oh, it's at the top of the deck. It was at the top of the deck, next to the conservator. But yeah. Maybe it is. Maybe Bloomin' Rose is right. And it's just about transmutation and alchemy and stuff like that. It's like alchemizing misfortune into fortune. alchemizing like upsetness and frustration into calm, alchemizing cold into heat. It's like there's this like energy of inversion or something. I don't know. This is so weird, y'all. This is so weird. This is too weird even for me. And I didn't come in with a plan, so let's do this a little less planned. Let's try that. I kind of want to keep these out though. There's something about pulling things into that null space and then changing it. And maybe that's why I was like, well, I don't think like fortune is necessarily anything I'm connected to. But I can like I'm pretty good at like getting a feeling of where people are, where they want to be, and then how to connect the bridge there. Or whatever. Take it. I mean, this is for me, so I guess take it as it resonates. So y'all are just here with me. This is very much so not what I was expecting. I would still recommend y'all check out his video though, because it was cute. I feel like it's kind of mean for me to tell people to go check out a video where someone's being very vulnerable in a way that they don't necessarily want to be. Oh my gosh, that's it. Everything is in motion. Everything is fluid, everything is changing and evolving. And when that card came out, it was about change and flow and motion. Oh, wow. Yeah, now my throat is starting to get raspy. So I guess that means I'm onto something. I'm just thinking about it. It's like pulling things into that space, changing it, rearranging it, and then spitting it back out. But what is that to do with the warrior? I don't know. I wish I was like more free flowy, you know? That'd be cute. So let's do this in a more free flowy type manner. These are a little deep to be free flowy. I'm gonna grab the wild unknown. Oops. Grab my story cards. These I can hopefully be a little bit. And I just put some of these in reverse. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. So are we putting these all up right? Yep. Okay. Well, I'll just read them. No, I don't have to put them all up right. Okay, Ken. Thank you. That was weird. So that's kind of sort of what I'm getting so far. It's this energy of contradiction. That's me. I'm a walking contradiction. And it's the energy of paradoxes, contradictions, paradoxes, transmutation, riddles. And so I guess I shouldn't be surprised that Yanganti 10 is at the bottom of the deck. That would... it's like his light guides some people and it tricks others. Because there's also an energy of an unraveling, and maybe that unraveling is what that Hanged Man energy was about. But it's like it's giving me like a DNA wrapped around histones type of energy. And is that methylated? I think if it's methylated, it wraps around the histones. It's like a chromosome as compared to just like loose DNA. And so sometimes you got to unwind to really see where the imperfection is. And it's like some people have certain areas wound up so tightly that they don't necessarily see that that's the exact thing that's blocking them. But if it's wound up that tightly, I'm also not the type of person to be like, hey, like, if you loosened up here, you'd be able to get everything you're asking for. Maybe that was the issue. It's almost like see something, say something type energy. It's like, I don't want to say nothing. That ain't my job. I ain't got no kids. I ain't responsible for nobody but myself. And maybe I can't be like that no more. Okay. We'll just pull off the top. Starting with the High Priestess in reverse. Secret Keeper. It's just more or less intuitive. Yeah. Ice Queen is at the bottom of the deck. I love Ice Queen. I'm taking you. With Destiny under Ice Queen, I'm taking you too. And then Transformation is under that. I got so many little cards over here. Let's see. I don't even know if I got any more room on the table. Okay. So now we got Ice Queen and Destiny on the table. And then we're just going to pull. Oh, here it is. I was like, where was that card? And we're just going to pull these. Now, the Ice Queen is one who kind of sort of like that Archangel of Mysteries, one who's familiar with the light and the dark, but who chooses light, right? She's the one who is self-integrated. Her keywords are introspection, self-analysis, and fortitude. She's a number 22. I'm actually born... What is it? I was born at a 22 time. And there's another 22 somewhere. I was born in a 22 year, right? 1993. That's 10 plus 12. Yeah, I was born in a 22 year at a 22 time. My first name is a 33. My last name is a 33. My middle name is a 34. I was like, wow, I was one off of being a 99, but now I'm a 100. Couldn't just be 33, 33, 33. It's 33, 34, 33. Anyway, it's not about my numerology. That's about this. I feel like this is a deep introspection into some things. It's a certain knowledge and awareness that runs counter everything else. And then with the Chariot here in reverse, I mean, in the past, I never really moved with it. I never really said anything. But I would be able to see or know, because again, it's like you can see where people are, what people want, and what they're doing or not doing to align with getting it. And so, what is water for me? I guess water for me hasn't necessarily been emotions. Water for me is a fundamental understanding of spirit and spiritual universal cosmic law. Then it's the Daughter of Cups. So here's some water. There's some emotion. But it's about the shadow, the rainbow self. The rainbow self in the shadow. There's the Six of Cups. And then the Eight of Swords. How am I doing this? What am I doing? I don't know. This is what we'll do. There we go. I'm sorry, y'all. I need things to be at least semi-ordered and structured so I know where I'm going. The Six of Pennies with the Six of Cups. Okay. Even though it's in reverse, we'll still take it. Huh. The Mother and the Father of Wands. One is upright, one is in reverse. Right next to each other. That's cute. Bottom of the deck is the Two of Wands, upright. So when it comes to Samikio, Angel of Vengeance, I have the High Priestess in reverse, the Ten of Pentacles in reverse, and then the Mother of Wands upright. There's something here that was reserved. It's a very like protective maternal energy, but it's not very, it's not doing anything. I think there's this real hesitation that I have around anger specifically, and I talked about it last time. But it's like whenever I get mad, I don't know if it's my Cancer, I don't know if it's my Mars and Cancer that makes me just like straight up crazy. But it's like it comes in waves and it feeds itself. And Mars is a cardinal planet, Cancer is a cardinal energy. Mars doesn't like being in Cancer, but Cancer is cardinal. And Mars don't mind low cardinal energy. It also don't mind fixed energy either, apparently. You just stay mad. But it's like I don't like who I am when I'm upset. Because it kind of sort of, in the past, it hasn't happened since I was a baby. No problem, Bloomin' Rose. I was just saying that I think you're right about this being like transmutation and alchemy and stuff like that. I'm But I don't like being mad and I don't like being angry because it fuels itself in me. And no matter how hard, because it's like since I don't allow myself to feel that emotion very often, um, when I do get mad, it's like my whole body is like, this is the only time that this will ever happen. So dump all of the anger, throw all of the wood that we have piled up on the fire, and just wait for it to blow up. And I don't like being like that. Last time I was mad, I had to listen to a song called Positive Vibes for like literally 2 hours straight, and I just danced in my room until I was cool. I tried to stop dancing like half an hour in because I thought I was good, and then I got mad again. So I gave it the full 2 hours. I had my headphones in. I'm just like moving. I'm exhausting myself, and then I was good. Um, I was good after that. You shut all your media down because of it. All your social media down. I almost did it. But I was like, you know what? This time I'm going to say something. Usually I don't say anything. I was like, this time I'm going to say something. So I did. Um, but I feel like for me, what it ended up doing was it ended up, hey, look, there's an 8 right here with the 4 in between. Haha, that's cute. What it ended up doing for me was like yesterday, you said something and then shut it down. I wanted whatever I said to be seen. I made it public because I unfriended some people first and then I made it public just in case that they would link up for me. And I don't too much got the time to sit and talk with people. I ain't nobody mama. I ain't nobody daddy. I got a few younger brothers who don't even listen to me, just like the rest of y'all. I'm just Welcome to Cassandra's Tarot Dice and Spiritual Advice. My name is Patrick, aka Cassandra. I'm just playing. Um, but yeah, so you just did it yesterday. I still got mine. I haven't really been on it too much. I've kind of sort of been on Twitter a lot. Because you can find so many interesting things on Twitter. You can search for things and it pops up like astrology and stuff like that, right? I just think it's interesting to see what's there. Excuse me. But it's like I feel like my judgment got not corrupted, but I think I started to come up with too many excuses for the sake of not being angry. And so my own little personal trial of water is the trial of fire is what I was in starting like June. And things got real hot. Things got real spicy. And now I'm coming into this cool down phase. And so my trial of water is remembering where people are and how things tend to work down here. Um, and so it's kind of sort of like a readjustment or a relearning period for me. Again, like I don't like being angry and upset got me in trouble. Your girl almost went to juvie. She was almost arrested. And by she, I mean me. It was the fifth grade. I think I've told this story before. I had anger issues growing up as a child. And so there was this lady, her name was Mrs. Matayo. And I talked to her in elementary school. And she gave me some good tools to not be upset. One such tool was, like, if ever you're upset. Now, she gave me something, and then somebody came along and gave me something different that just, like, changed my whole life, quite honestly. But she was like, whenever you're getting mad, just, like, count to 10 and control your breath. Control your breathing and count to 10 over and over and over until you're good, right? And so that's what I was doing. I was in class. I was getting a little heated, so I was controlling my breath and I was counting to 10 and I was trying to calm down. And apparently, I was disturbing people even though I was like doing literally nothing. And so, one of the school people was called, and where I lost control is when somebody put their hands on me. Because it's like if you lay a hand, you can catch a hand. I used to be of the lay a hand, catch a hand mentality. It didn't matter who you were, what your gender was, or how old you were. If you lay a hand on me, you can catch several. And that's who I used to be. I don't go around just putting my hands on people. And I didn't appreciate people just putting their hands on me. I don't care how young I am and how old you are, or how much bigger you are, or how much stronger you are, girl, I'm a fight. Because you initiated this. Things got a little hairy. And there was this moment I was just like blacked out. I wasn't like blacked out, but there was this moment where it was like this moment of clarity that just like hit me. It was it was these three adults. One of them was this big, like the Spanish teacher. He was fairly burly. His hair grayed after that year. It's not funny. I'm sorry, but his hair did gray after that. Um, you just throw some truth and walk away with a wink, girl. That's what I need to do. Let me. Now I just walk away. I don't even say nothing. I just walk away. I just be like, you know what? This ain't even worth my time, energy, or effort. It ain't. I'ma just peace out. I guess sometimes I will like just be like, this is how I feel, and goodbye. Um, but anyway, so they wrestled me down to the ground, and like my Spanish teacher, he had his arm in front of me, and I was about to bite it. I was about to bite it. I was about to go all the way there. Maybe a finger. Maybe a finger sometimes. Two fingers at the most, Never a full hand. Just a finger here or there. A fingernail sometimes, The air from my hand. Um, you're an Aquarius with too much fire in Libra, right? Something about Libras just like draw me in. And then I find out they're Libra. I'm like, oh no. I got Libra in my chart too, so hey, you know. And I got Venus heavy in my chart. Anyways, um, yeah, but I was about to bite this man and keep on fighting because I wasn't done. But then I had that moment of clarity. I was like, wait, this is too much. Like, what am I doing? And what's interesting is at that moment, excuse me, I feel like there was that part of me that was always ready to fight or to defend myself or do whatever. And I was such an interesting character because I was super smart. I was very like friendly and everything else. I just had an extremely short fuse. And some people would like to play with me when they knew that I had a short fuse, and so they would just set me off. People were like, "Oh, we heard that you like busted the window with a chair and you took off running." I'm like, "Girl, what? Y'all making me sound?" And then the rumors would be less than, the rumors would be extreme. I'm like, "Girl, it was not even all that. It was not even all that. Y'all need to calm down." Um, what time is it? What am I doing on here? See, you have Libra in 4 houses. Wait, you got what? You got Libra in 4 houses. What that mean? Or in the fourth house? Or in 4 houses? I got Libra in the sixth house. Libra is actually inconjuncted in my chart. So my sixth house starts with Virgo and it ends with Scorpio. So I got all of Libra in there. Libra just crammed in that house. In your chart, you got Libra in 4 houses? Or in the so you mean like in 4 houses or in the fourth house? Where did this just go? It's right here. Okay. Nice. Anyway. Oh, got you. Got you. Got you. You got, you a quadruple Libra? Woo. I'm a single Libra. I got my Jupiter is in Libra. Retrograde. Work. And then I got 2 Taurus. Like I'm a Taurus moon and rising. So I get the feminine side of Venus and then I get the masculine side of Venus. But so like I'm a early Taurus degree rising, a later degree Taurus moon, and a mid degree. My Jupiter is like mid degree Libra, and so it's pretty far from both. Well, I guess it's closer to my rising, but there's like over 10 degrees between my Jupiter and my moon, so it's a very, very, very loose aspect. So 4 in Libra, 2 in Sag, 2 in Taurus, Aries, and then Aquarius in 2. And North Node. Okay. I can get down with some Aquarian energy. I love that. Just like, I feel like anybody who can go out to the middle of space and just get lost with me, I love it. People who are like, that's not realistic. I'm like, girl, have an imagination. It ain't gotta be. I'm a Pisces. I'm a Pisces. It ain't gotta be real. Right? Let me stop. Plus Capricorn, I got 2. So I'm 2 Taurus. If you include the rising. Well, let's not include the rising. So I'm 2 in Pisces, 1 in Aries, South Node in Gemini, 1 in Cancer, 1. My Chiron is in Leo, nothing in Virgo. I got a planet in Libra. I have a planet in Scorpio. My North Node is in Sagittarius. I got 2 planets in Capricorn. I have 1 planet in Aquarius, and then again the 2 planets in Pisces. So I'm all over the place, as you can tell. But how my energy is just like all over the place, and I think that's another thing that kind of sort of like screwed me up. It's because like I'm able to kind of sort of flesh out both sides, and so it's like I would always check myself. And everything would end up in the stalemate. And that's the energy that I needed to be in to prevent anger. But, my trial by fire was awakening that part of me that since that day had gone dormant. That was the day that side of Patrick just disappeared overnight, basically. when I had that moment of clarity and I was like, I am not about to bite this man and keep on fighting. Like, I'm not doing that. It's like it ends here. And when I was like, it ends here, it ended everything. That part of me was just like gone. I was basically a robot for a little bit. um, what is all of this on the table? What am I doing, y'all? What am I doing? I don't know. I don't know. Your chart is a little crazy. Ain't nothing wrong with a little crazy chart. I like a little crazy. My seventh house is Scorpio. Okay, so I got Scorpio on my descendant. I can handle a little scorpionic energy. And my Pluto is in Scorpio too. I got Pluto in the seventh house. Oh Lord. Oh Lord. Goodness. Like I said, I understand desire. Okay. Anyway, this ain't about that aspect of me. Um, and so when it comes to the High Priestess in reverse with this Ten of Pentacles in reverse, I feel like this is kind of sort of me going to extremes to stay out of this energy because it cuts both ways. And with the Mother of Wands here, like I said, there's this energy of like coddling. And I feel like because I go that far into it, sometimes it really affects my judgment of certain situations. Because my judgment was typically skewed in one way. Right? Now that that's coming down, then we have this destiny with the Chariot in reverse, the Eight of Cups in reverse, and the Father of Swords in reverse. So that's all that stuck that I lived the majority of my short-ish life. I'm only 27 and a half, and that was like 25 and a half years of my life, where it was a lot of not doing anything, not moving, and not admitting that the things. And it's interesting because I've pretty much always known within me what needs to be healed. I know where my shortcomings are. I know where I was broken or whatever. But for the longest time, I just decided to not do anything, right? I was like, oh, I'd rather be miserable and depressed, girl. Yay. And it's like, oh, no. I have my end stream button here. My end stream button ain't on the other channel. What? I didn't even click begin stream. It just, it's fine. It's fine. Sorry. Um, but yeah, it kind of sort of it stopped me in a lot of ways. Um, and this moment, that moment I lost like all of that fire in me. You're a Pisces moon in Vedic. I'll take it. Hey, I have Virgo in Vedic, but then my Libra it might be like empty. I'm a Jupiter in Virgo in Vedic. So, I don't know what that does, but definitely. Well, it's retrograde, so it still wouldn't help me. Anyway, that day where I lost that like spark, that was like all of my fire. Like I said, I was basically a hollowed out little shell robot person by that point. Um, and one of the things that I learned from somebody, she basically told me, hey, Patrick, people aren't mind readers and they don't know that they're making you upset unless you let them know that they're making you upset. So you can't really hold it against people if you're not telling them that you're upset because we don't necessarily see it on you. And in my mind, I think it's very obvious when I start to get upset. Now, it depends on what's going on. Like, if somebody is saying something that's just, like, foolish, then that's when my face will just be like, that's when my face will emote. But if I'm just, like, whatever, I just, like, shut down. And I'm like, because I'm doing all this, like, woosah, woosah on the inside. But I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to sit through this for as long as I have to. And then this is shut down and I'm moving on. But anyway, that day I lost a lot more than I bargained for. But now it's like I'm coming into the here's the water, there's Cain going into the future. We have another black bird. Look at that. One of the blackbirds is looking into the future, the other blackbird is looking into the past, which is interesting. But here, I feel like I really need to understand, excuse me, that the future that I'm coming into is not the past that I've left behind. And who I was when I was less developed, when I was a literal child who was going through things, as all children do. That was about the time where my little brother came into the world, and when my youngest brother came into the world, I just shut down. You're a Virgo. Hey, Virgo. Um, and it was like it really, a lot of things happened at around that time, and it really shifted the dynamic of my world. And I'm a Taurus. I got a lot of Taurus in me, so I was comfortable. And then something like some things came up. People are born, family dynamics shift and change. All of a sudden, it's like, I was basically feeling maybe a little bit neglected because I feel like the baby was getting all of the attention. And so I acted out like some kids do, right? But anyway, that's beside the point. The point is this locking away. It's like my fire had been put on a deep freeze, and I've been coming, especially since January, honestly, since like December ish. I've been coming into this space of like, first it thawed out that room, first it thawed out the deep freeze that it was in, right? And then it just like, when I opened the door, it's like oxygen rushed into this room and the fire just exploded. I was like, ah! But I'm good now. I'm coming back into this calming place now that's very temperance. It's about the fire and the water. And I was just water heavy before. And honestly, there was a part of me, because I associate that fire that I had with all of these less than stellar memories from when I was a youngin' and I had like not fully developed mentally, and when I wasn't communicating, when I was upset and stuff like that, right? So there was a part of me, especially in like January, that was initially a little afraid of that coming back, but also it brought back some other passion and it brought back some other fire into my life. That was amazing. You know, and that's fine. What was I talking about? I'm kidding. But it's about realizing that it's almost like, if I had to describe what it felt like in that moment, it was like there was this great darkness inside of me. And then there was this equally great light that was inside of me. And it's almost like I played both sides, right? I was very temperamental as a child. I could just blow up over anything. One thing I didn't like was disrespect. So, but it was like in that moment, I lost that darkness, but it's because it's almost like the light had, it's like in the lantern. It's like it all got locked away behind the lamp of the Archangel of Mysteries. And it was in this space. But again, in me, one isn't necessarily the absence of the other. I lost both. It was a two for. It was a twofer, right? It was a twofer. If you lose one, you lose both. And in that moment, I decided, I guess, to lose both when I didn't bite that man's arm and act like an animal. I was like, Patrick, this is a bit extreme. And your mother is on her way, girl. You're already in trouble. You're already in trouble. Spirit guides for you blackbirds, they always show up. What birds? I don't know. I've been getting quite a few bird messages lately, but I don't know if I necessarily have any bird spirit guides. I know back in the day, maybe robins and cardinals when I was younger. Because robins would just be like all over the place, right? And then you see the little robin egg shells like that, maybe like that robin egg blue color. Like, oh, they're cute. And there were these birds that like when we have this little bush it's like a little mini tree. It's a bush, okay? We got this bush. It's like a little. It's like this little mini tree that we got on the side of the porch. And there were these birds that would nest in there all the time. I don't know what kind of birds they are though. I don't think I ever really paid attention, honestly. Um, but that's also the thing. I think this key is the key to that cage. And it's almost like I can't proceed in the world further without that because it's a part of who I am. And so now moving forward into the Ice Queen, there's the Six of Cups upright, the Six of Pentacles in reverse, and then the Father of Pentacles. So that's about the past, giving and receiving, and then structure and stability. Again, it's like I've come to the point now where I don't necessarily have to worry about that anymore because I've, matured into all of who I am. And I'm more aware of the energy that I approach spaces with. I'm less likely to misattribute frustration. I don't project as much frustration that I have in one situation scenario onto somebody else, right? It's like I can keep them separate. Whereas in the past, that necessarily wasn't always the case. And then in Dayat, there's the Eight of Swords, the Four of Cups, and the Eight of Pentacles. The Eight of Pentacles is a card of mastery. It's a card of achieving mastery. It's a card of adepthood. So it's not the apprenticeship. It's like when you complete your apprenticeship and your master is like, okay, it's time for you to go out and do your own thing. The Eight of Pentacles is you going out, doing your own thing, building a name for yourself before you become your own master, right? The Four of Cups is Black Moon, Lilith, and Pisces. Right between my Sun and my Mercury. It's fine. And then the Eight of Swords is about things that are trapped. I don't know what I'm doing with this. This was not not necessarily my intention. How would I read myself? How would I read somebody else? I don't know. I don't know what else to do. I feel like I'm not hitting it. I feel like I'm not getting it. Maybe there's a little bit of resistance. Maybe it's for a reason. Maybe it's like you ain't got to talk about everything. You ain't got to say everything. I don't know. We'll see. What else could I do? I don't know. But maybe that's the point, right? So yeah, within me, there are these things that I had locked up for a good reason. And I'm in this phase now where I am letting those parts of me breathe. And I guess I've discovered that the handle that I have on it is it's different now. It's much more evolved. I'm not as much of a loose cannon as I used to be. And part of the biggest reason why that's the case is because I've since learned to communicate my feelings, right? I don't know what we're doing with all these. We're gonna put these away. I want to get back into the SKT. I want to do some. I don't know. I feel like I'm missing the mark, y'all. I feel like I've missed the mark, but that's fine. Top of the deck is the Four of Swords in reverse. Bottom of the deck is that Seven of Wands that I was seeing a lot. But then I guess it goes back to the question of our inner being and the nature of that being. I feel like my inner being is. I feel like if some people could see it, they would probably be intimidated by it. I feel like there's a lot of negative connotation around it. And I don't want to say for not good reason, but it's a lot more experienced, I feel. And I remember I was having lunch with one of my friends. We were having drinks. Yes, we went to the pint. They got these wine slushies or something like that. I got the creamsicle one. I'm not a huge fan of creamsicle, so I don't know why I got the creamsicle one. Because it was just orange. I got the orange one, and then it was like creamsicle. I was like, oh, creamsicle is too much orange. It's not for me. It's kind of so disgusting. I'm going to do one more round of these, and then I'll quit. But he was like, I think he said I was an old soul, or he was like, somebody called me an old soul. I was like, yeah, I see it. I'm not surprised. And he was like, well, what does that mean? And I was like, well, I resonate as an older soul. And there's something about you that I couldn't find the right words to say it, but there was a certain amount of like kinship that I found with him. And so I was like, yeah, I'm not surprised. But yeah, it just feels like pretty old, and it feels fairly knowledgeable for whatever. Wise. It feels fairly wise. But when I was younger and I didn't really have a control over my emotion, because, you know, children don't necessarily do. Not all children necessarily, you know, aren't subjected to whatever random emotional outbursts. And so maybe some aspects of it I maintained, but other aspects of it I kind of sort of lost. It got diluted, it got watered down. And so for me, it's been about sort of coming back into it. And at first, again, when it was a little hot and a little fiery, the point then was to speak. Now the point is to come into a sense of balance. And so it's not to necessarily silence myself, but it's to also keep in mind differences. Right? Oh, nice. We got one. We're going to do one more of these too. And then I'm going to end this with a few more from the SKT. And then we'll see how this goes. I want these face down, please. I probably should have just did the original thing that I thought about doing. I'm also not great at like holding an intention, because I kind of sort of just get swept up in the wind. But for me, again, the trial by water is different. And so let's see what my water trial is. I had my little fire moment when I would randomly just get like hot in the chest area, like up here. And I would literally like put my hand there and then put my hand like lower on my stomach or like on my shoulder. And even now, this area is like the warmest area on my body. And maybe that's not surprising. Maybe it's like typically like that. But there are some times when it just like it feels like it's like exploding, like on fire. Okay. Let's get one of these face down too, please. Because y'all know I like surprises. I like mysteries. Oh, we'll take it. Nice. Oh, Sabbath. That's like a holiday. Something like that, right? Let's go on a holiday to Spain. I think I got Spanish DNA. It was either Spanish or Portuguese. I think it's Spanish. It was interesting. I got a little bit of Filipino, some other areas of Southeast Asia. I got a little bit of Scandinavian, some British and Irish, which isn't surprising because, you know, history. Got some African, which isn't surprising because, you know, I'm black. Trace ancestry in it's like broadly Chinese or something. I got some Native American, which isn't surprising because, you know, it's not. What else was in there? I think like the Spanish and the Scandinavian were like particularly, and like the Southeast Asian, that was also interesting. Like Myanmar, Khmer, like around that area. I wasn't expecting that. Oh, okay, that's a lot. Nah. Well, is that Gabriel again or no? Oh no, that's Sandalphon. Sandalphon and Duma. Angel of Dreams and the Angel of New Life. I'll take him. Why not? I wanted him face down, but that's fine. So, what is the next phase of my journey? Again, so my trial by fire was going back to that piece of me that I had locked up. Allowing it to breathe. Just go on with it. Now things are starting to cool down. And it so far it's looking to me like it's gonna be, like I've already said, it's about integrating both of those and not always being so hot. And now I'm starting to warm up again. Oh goodness. See, there it is. It just kicks in sometimes. Or let's see. Give me a few cards for my trial by fire. Right. He talked about trial by fire and trial by water. And he did it in a personal means, but I feel like I've already had my trial by fire because I was going through that period of just getting real warm for like no reason. Yes. Is that the only card that came out? So my trial by fire will be this card. And I've already started to like cool down a little bit, get a little bit more level-headed. I mean, it already came to me. I'm in this space of practicing observation with less judgment. And usually I'm in a pretty non-judgmental space. But there were some things that I was seeing that were inspiring me to action. Oh, girl, no. Why is the Three of Swords here? You about to cry. You gonna cry so hard. It's fine. Oh yeah, I wanted to do it this way so they come out in reverse. I mean, upside down. Did a card just not fall on the table? I feel like I felt the card fall. Guess not. Okay, let's wrap this up. And again, you can take whatever you get from this. Feel free to take the discerning one. I'm not gonna take that. It didn't come all the way out. Maybe this is it. Okay, yeah, no, this is it. Okay. Is that the Archangel of Mysteries? It is the Archangel of Mysteries. She was poking out. Poking out, Pocahontas. Galandis. And then we got 3 cards. The Wisher. The Wish Granted. Interesting. Okay, so let's wrap this up. So the card for my trial by fire was the Politic. Ha ha! The Politic. It was related to politics, y'all. More or less. With everything. I mean, more so than just politics, but it's like even, it's fine. We're not going to go full into it. But it was this space. The Politic in this deck is about the wise men who come together to seek out this kind of sort of prophecy, and it's about kind of sort of surrounding the foretelling of the king to be, right? The king who is going to be born. And the Three of Wands is also about manifesting. What is this? Is this? It's the Sun in Aries. So this is Sun in Aries energy. That's the second decan of Aries, which is Leo. So not surprising that the Sun is there. Hold it. Let's see. So the trial by fire for me. This has given me energy of. So here's a bonfire. But it's given me the energy of Iacchus, Rhadamanthus, and Minos, I think. And it's because of these ram head sort of things, that these ram horns that they have on their head. But Iacchus, Rhadamanthus, and Minos are like 3 of the judges in the underworld. And I think I didn't necessarily, I don't want to say I did do a good job in it, but it was kind of sort of like, I don't know if I necessarily separated. No problem, Zelda. Oh, that's less than a month away. All of the best with the move, and like you said, you good. So keep the faith, and you'll be all right. All right. But yeah, it's kind of. I don't think I did a good job in the beginning of separating, kind of sort of the people from the mindsets. If that makes any sense. But again, I understand that what I saw in that moment was crucial to me coming into my voice. If it wasn't, whatever, I wouldn't have done it. But it's giving me the energy. What do they do? I don't know why. Iacchus, Rhadamanthus, and Minos. Specifically, how do you spell Iacchus? Eachus? No, Iacchus. So Eiachus, Iacchus, Chuschan. Girl, we'll just do Rhadamanthus. How do you spell Rhadamanthus? Radamanthus. Rhadamanthus. Thys. This might not even be the Rhadamanthus I'm looking for. Say, Kyoto of Hades in the XX century. Girl, this ain't what I wanted. This ain't what I wanted. Rhadamanthus. Rhadamanthus. Here we go. Let's see. It took a minute. But it's giving me their energy for some reason. In Greek mythology, Rhadamanthus, it can be spelled with a Y, was a wise king of Crete. In later accounts, he is said to be one of the judges of the dead. So let's go to mythology. Although he was frequently considered one of the judges of the dead in the underworld, he was known for few legislative activities. There is reference to a law of Rhadamanthus ordering the Cretans to swear oaths by animals, and to another law of Rhadamanthus saying if a person defends themselves against another who initiated violence, then they should suffer no penalty. Okay, work! And we talked about Samiki, y'all, right? Yeah, if you're defending yourself, hello, that makes sense. Afterlife. According to later legends, on account of his inflexible integrity, he was made one of the judges of the dead in the lower world, together with Aeacus, Aeacus, and Minos. He was supposed to judge the souls of Easterners, Aeacus those of Westerners, while Minos had the casting vote. He is portrayed in books 4 and 7 of Homer's Odyssey. Virgil makes Rhadamanthus one of the judges and punishers of the unworthy in the underworld section of the Aeneid. Homer represents him as dwelling in the Elysian fields, the paradise for the immortal sons of Zeus. Pindar says that he is the right-hand man of Cronus, now ruling Elysium, and was the sole judge of the dead. Lucian depicts Rhadamanthus as presiding over the company of heroes on the Isle of the Blessed in true history. Interesting. So our dude Rhadamanthus is in Elysium Fields, which is like the heaven of the underworld, right? Instead of Tartarus, which is kind of sort of like the hell. And then I think you probably got some limbo space in there in between. So Aeacus, Rhadamanthus, and Minos. I don't know why they're giving me the energy of Aeacus, Rhadamanthus, and Minos, but that's what my trial of fire was about. Again, this is very interesting. I'm gonna take it as resonates. And this is for me, so y'all just, I don't know, I'm doing it on here. Even though I still feel like I'm out of my element. I really should have done it the way I usually do. I may come back and do it, or I might do it on my other channel. I probably will. But I wanted to do this over here because this is where it actually matters. For the most part. Not for the most part, but. And so for me, it was very much so about that. Like I said, I feel like I got into the energy of making excuses a lot. And one of the things that I wrote down for myself when I did that Akashic Records run through from the Book of Maps, which is lovely, I love the Book of Maps, that it was about understanding and upholding cosmic and universal law. And cosmic and universal law just being the space of like kind of sort of how we treat others and how we interact with a consciousness outside of our own. And I mean, talking about it has led me to the places where I'm at now, which is interesting. So we go from the Three of Wands to the Three of Swords and the Trial by Water. I feel like fire is all about expression. Swords, it's all about the mental. There are 3 swords, but 4 chambers of the heart. 3 and 4 is a 7. So there's an understanding of pain. And it's also interesting because I was playing Persona. I've been playing Persona lately. And Dr. Maruki was like, he's like, we know that physical pains can be indicators of a lot of different things, but we don't fully understand why we feel physical pain when it comes to like emotions, right? And he was talking about a broken heart. And I mean, I don't want to say that like I didn't even think I had a heart anymore. But after the past few months of life, I can tell you I most definitely do. And I don't know, I never really thought that I'd find someone that and it's not that I don't care about people. I never thought that I would have found somebody who affected me or has the ability to affect me as deeply as some of the people that have come into my life lately. And I discovered that And so maybe that was actually the beginning of my trial of water. I guess I had my trial of water before I had my trial of fire. If it's related to emotions, then I did that. Oh. So what trial? Maybe I should have asked the question like, what trial am I on now? I mean, the Page of Swords is here. Maybe the Page of Swords is like you're on your trial of air now, which actually kind of sort of makes more sense than the trial of water because it's a lot about So there's been the emotional, there's been the fire related to the soul, and now it's like this mental, which is the steam that is created between water and fire. And so it's the balancing of the two, and that's what I'm coming into. So I'm coming into the space of learning to hold my fire, but also to hold the water of understanding and non-judgment and stuff like that. And again, it ain't that I necessarily judge people, but I was just getting a little too hot for comforts. Oh, look, the Archangel Commander is at the bottom of the deck. We're going to pull this card for our girl, the Queen of Cups. Lovely. And also, the Ace of Cups. Okay, so the Queen of Cups and the Ace of Cups is coming out with the messenger from the unformed lands. So this Queen of Cups could stand at the boundary of emotion, but it could also stand at the gateways of spirit. Because emotion is just, it's kind of sort of that interconnectedness that we all feel. Excuse me, and it runs between more than just, people. And then there's the dove here. I feel like people have been talking about doves lately. Was that Russell? Maybe it was Queen Cup. Or somebody else. Somebody was like, I used to have these types of birds as, one of my totem animals or one of my guides or something like that. But now it's like mourning doves. I think it was Queen Cup in her 8-8 video. And also I got doves on my birds bookmark. So I talked about doves lately. The white pigeons, which are basically doves that I saw in London, they were cute. Them pigeons were just like, we hear just like everybody else. I was like, oh my gosh, they ain't flying away. I literally had to walk through just like seagulls and pigeons just like flying all around when we were going to Tate Modern, I think. And we was on that little whatever next to the water, and then we saw the London Eye. I think that's the name of like the Ferris wheel on the other side. I want to go back to London, but it's probably gonna be a minute now, so that's fine. Um, anyway, what does it have to do with this? I see the dove as descending. It's like it's coming down to land on this cup. And I also talked about descending in that dream. But in the dream, it's like it kind of sort of, it begs the question of like, how do we embody these higher dimensional principles in a dense world? Right? And I guess the answer would be the shadow. But it's a healthier relationship with the shadow. It's a shadow that is not the absence of light. Oh my gosh. Maybe that's what it is. I think the shadow might be light, but it's like it's a light behind the curtain. And so when it goes from its space to this space, it shows up as a shadow. But if we look at it in its space, it would be the light, and our light here would be the shadow there. And this ain't, average, ordinary, run-of-the-mill shadow. It's a different... What? And then it's like this reflective pool. So it's like it's slightly distorted, it's slightly out of phase. But it's standing guard at this. Or it's like this energy is the guardian of this energy. If this were like a child, then this would be that child's guardian. Or like a big sister or something like that, right? I don't know. This is interesting. I don't know where I'm going with this. The Three of Cups. Look at this. 3, 3, 3. Another 3. The Queen of Swords. And that demon again. Girl, I'm so over this energy. It's fine. I am over it, though. I'm tired of seeing it. But it's almost about freeing yourself to roam about the cabin. And that's what all of this is going to do. That's what these trials are in place for. Okay. Word. Yeah, that's what these trials are in place for. It's almost like before we let these go, because again, in the Memory Keeper, they were juvenile. In the Devil, they're chained, and in the Lovers, they're free. And the Lovers is a card that can be about choice, right? And so it's like, it's observing the choices that we make, that I make, before. It's like choices always matter, but it's like a test. It's like a trial period. It's the choices that I make now that will. Because here's the page from the Unformed Lands. Here's the Queen. So in the space of water, this page is observing this for this Queen. And if the Queen likes what she sees, then she cuts the chains. But if she cuts the chains, where the Devil kind of sort of stood over these lovers, I would have to stand. And this is about that self-autonomy. I don't even, like, in this sense, the Devil doesn't even have to be a devil. It's just, it's something, it is an energy of subjugation, but it subjugates for a reason, right? Because we all have the ability to become our best selves, but it's almost like we have to prove it. And you're not proving it to man. So however you look on the outside is, kind of sort of besides the point. It's an internal proving. And one of the judges is your shadow. Your shadow kind of sort of in some way has the final say on whether or not you get this full release, because of how you interact with it. And it's like the shadow has the final say because it requires unanimity. Is unanimity a word? Unanimousness. It has to be a unanimous vote, right? And a lot of times the shadow is kind of sort of what stops that vote. And that's the looking into the cup here. That's the energy of the Angel of Mysteries, the Archangel of Mysteries with the Devil card. It was about elevating that shadow self up. It was about elevating the shadow so it's no longer sort of in the darkness. And it's like through her lantern, she takes the shadow through the heart of Dayat to the other side, where light is the absence of shadow instead of shadow being the absence of light. It does some transfiguration back there, and then it crosses over through her lantern again, or no? Does it matter? Not really. But it takes me back to all those times that I would say there are some places where the shadow cannot exist as a shadow. It's very much that it's that energy. And so the first step is the transfiguration, the alchemization of that shadow. And it's the shadow, it's the reborn shadow, it's the alchemized shadow that will contain itself. Right? It was like how they were like there was the discerning one and the warrior and the contender and the memory keeper and like all of this kind of sort of like movement up here but stuckness down here, and then it was the fighter down here but it was tired up here, and then it was the who was it over here, the star over here, and then the blind seer over here. And so it's almost like I'm living my shadow self right now. But in living my shadow self, it's like I'm teaching it how to behave. It's weird, okay? I'm like, I'm trying to piece it together, and it's finally coming together. I'm like, I didn't understand it before. I'm like, what is this? So it's like we live our light. Maybe not me. I feel like I'm now living my shadow. And I'm living my shadow as a proving to the part of me that didn't think I could do it. Again, when I talked about the anger issues I had as a kid and stuff like that, and how it would just blow up because I wasn't communicating anything. And so I came into the space where I've been living that shadow. And in this space, also at the same time, proving to myself how much it's no longer going to derail me. And that's why this keeps popping up. And then with the Three of Cups, it's going to come a point where it all comes together. And I guess her lantern would be the elevator. So shout out to the Archangel of Mysteries. I knew I liked her. She being one of my favorites in this deck. Oh, in this deck, she's one of my favorites. Her and the Necromancer. The Necromancer is the first card that I really connected with. And it's the Moon card, so I do say that the Moon and the Hangman are two of my favorite cards in the deck. I feel like they get a bad rap a lot of times. But I guess you can kind of sort of see why now. Because it's about, I feel like a lot of times people fear the unknown. But also a lot of times people get stuck in cycles and patterns and habits that they don't like. And what we actually desire, a lot of us haven't experienced, like we don't experience it until we get it, and so it lies in the unknown. But so too do a lot of other things. And depending on who your guide is, you may end up in some corners of the unknown that you don't even want to be in. but I've always kind of sort of more or less been in the mind to guide myself. And if things don't feel right, they don't feel right, right? It's like if someone's like, "Hey, I have a piece of candy. Like, you want it?" I'm like, "Yeah, where is it? Like, I can go for some candy, sure." And they're like, "Oh, it's in my van." And I was like, "Okay." So, I'm going over to the van, and then I'm looking at this van, and I'm looking at that man, and I'm looking at this van. I'm like, "No, I'm good. I pass. I don't need no candy that bad." He's like, "Are you sure? It's just right here. Come follow me." I was like, "No, I'm good. I'm fine." See, I knew he was already off. I was gonna do it for the candy because I got a little bit of a sugar tooth right now. But yeah, no, I'm good. I'm not the victim that you want because you get me in that van, you might not come out of it. Sorry. Anyway, three threes, three of swords, three of wands, three of cups. Now the threes in this deck speak to geomancy, aeromancy, pyromancy, and hydromancy, which is interesting because we saw Came, and Came is all about premonitions of the future, right? But yeah, that's what this is. We have Sandalphon and who was the other one? Duma. I don't think I've ever gotten Duma before. I know Sandalphon, and Sandalphon is related kind of sort of to moon energy because it's the, oh, look, here it is right here. Sandalphon, angel of new life. When the time is right, the twin angel will return. Sandalphon was the fire, and now we follow it forward along the shoreline and into the water. Sandalphon's footstep brings with it great fear, but also awe and hope. With each step, we move closer to the conclusion and a new beginning. Embrace this new epoch. What has come has already passed. What will be is still a dream. What will be is still a dream, and then we got the Angel of Dreams right there. Hey! Sandalphon flows through it all. When a new era emerges, the blood of the twin angel brings fertility to everything it touches. Angelarium too was formed this way. So too will the next world, born in the wake of Sandalphon. Signs are wheel within a wheel, a child, and a spiral. A child. Alright, now let's look at Duma. I think Duma is like one of the first ones. Duma. There's Samikiel again. Here's Duma, Angel of Dreams. Docent. What that mean? What does docent mean? Ooh, that's a new word. I like learning new words. Hey Siri, define docent.
Okay, I found this on the web for define docent. Check it
Not
out.
docent. And can you read it, please? DOCENT.
In certain universities and colleges, a member of the teaching staff immediately below professorial rank.
Oh.
Do you want to hear the remaining one?
Yes.
A person who acts as a guide, typically on a voluntary basis, in a museum, art gallery, or zoo.
Okay. It's a volunteer guide. I'm a volunteer guide. Or not. See, I don't think I could be a guide, though. Because I'm not going to force anybody to do anything. And it's like, you want to do that? Okay. I wouldn't advise. Like, I would advise against it, but it's your life. You can do whatever. You're good? Okay. I'm like, you know what? You can do whatever. It's your life. You ain't got to listen. You can throw it away if you want to. It's your life. So he's a guide to the unknown. I mean, if he's the angel of dreams, that makes sense. Docent to the unknown. Duma is the impetus to doubt a false reality. Duma is the impetus to doubt a false reality. Like I was talking about the man with the band. It's like, man, it's like, see, like I may play dumb, but I'm not that dumb, right? Or whatever. So docent to the unknown, or is it docent? Oh, Sarah, you didn't read it, so I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it docent or docent? Hey Siri, how do you pronounce docent?
I found an answer. It's displayed on your iPhone.
You supposed to say it. Docent or docent. It actually may be docent. Hey Siri, define docent.
In certain universities and colleges, a member of the teaching
Yeah,
staff
it's
immediately
docent. Okay, that makes sense. Docent. So, docent to the unknown. Duma is the impetus to doubt a false reality, to crack the shell, keeping you from the truth. And then Phanuel, Angel of Truth, was at the bottom of the deck earlier. Who at the bottom of the deck now? I don't know. To crack the shell, keeping you from the truth. When the world shifts around you, Duma is your guide. The world is stranger than you believe it to be. What we all dream, we dream together. Those whose dream, hold on, wait, sorry. What we all dream, we dream together. Those dreams pull together in Duma's cupped hands. Look below the surface of the water. You know you've missed something, and yet you wonder what. You listen closely, and yet you hear nothing. All the while, you dream the truth you think you seek. It is said that Duma and Leliel are connected. The truth of this can only be found within Angelarium. Signs are a reflection in water, a golden cage, and an eye. Oh, and what did I tell y'all about this dove? I was like, I think this dove is descending on this cup, and it's looking into the pool. It's looking into the water, and the reflection that it sees is the shadow of the dove. But it's like it's not exactly a shadow, and it's a little distorted. Why is my nose getting like the tip of my nose is like super itchy, and I don't even have any mustache hairs tickling it. Okay, that was fine. That was weird. So we have New Life with Sandalphon, and then we have Seeing Through the Cracks of a Crooked Reality with Duma. That's interesting. That's really interesting. Ooh, girl. Okay, work. But it's like calling it into question. I think that's about. Yeah. Oh, wait, I already got that. Okay. I'm sorry. This is really interesting as it relates to this energy. But it's almost like, again, to break this, there's a purpose behind it. And that's one of the things I saw somebody, she was talking about how she had zoomed out and there was basically like this cosmic devil or whatever who was making souls sign contracts when they come down here. They ain't necessarily from here. And I guess you could see it that way. But at the same time, it's like I think that sometimes, and it's not that devil energy is good, but I think when it comes to our personal lives and when it comes to trials and tribulations within our personal lives, it's the energy that wakes us up. It's the only reason why I chose to grow. Like, if my life was peachy keen and fantabulous and perfect, I would not be the person. I wouldn't even be here right now. I'd be out enjoying my life. Hello. Um, I never would have had. It's like it's Duma is the impetus. How do you pronounce that word? I know in Latin it means to fight. Hey Siri, define impetus. Impetus. That's what it is. Impetus, I think. Okay. Hey Siri, define impetus.
Impetus means the force or energy with which a body moves.
Yeah, it's impetus. I said it right the first time. I don't know why I forgot. But like I said, Duma is the impetus that gets us to realize we're living in a false reality. And that's this. But it's not enough to realize we're living in a false reality. We still have to correct for it. And so, as a tool of ascension, it does its job. Now, whenever it's all like nasty and gross and stuff, I'm like, really? But as an ascension tool, it's kind of sort of necessary for where we are as a collective or just humanity in general, right? It's like if we're comfortable, we don't really seek the things beyond. And depending on how we handle that energy, it gives us the opportunity to come into something truly better. And that's what I'm trying to do for myself. So, is this my trial? I think this is my trial of air. I had my trial of water. I think my trial of water actually happened like March, April, May. Especially March, April, that was a heavy water period for me. And then the first part of May. The later part of May into June and July was that trial of fire. And I feel like now I'm coming into this trial of air where I am learning the balance between the water and fire. That is the steam, right? And it's related to this. It's about putting things into perspective without compromising what I know as truth, but also not being judgmental. Again, it's about balancing the fire and the water. And then that'll be what kind of sort of frees me up in this area for this new potential. It's like all the things that you thought was wrong with this place that you're living in, you were right. And again, that's Duma. Oh, snap. Who is this? Torn Garces? It's like a bear with a fishing rod. Torn Garces is about to be like some Inuit god of fishing or something, watch. It's an Inuit god who watches over the fishermen of Greenland. He may appear as a bear or a one-armed man, and he speaks with the familiar spirits of the village shamans. And I'm a Pisces! Shout out to Pisces gang. Let's see what this is about. Torn Garces. He's an Inuit god, and he ended up in the Book of Demons. That's one thing I don't agree with. Like Ra is in the Book of Demons. I'm like, Ra is like one of the solar deities. Because everything that ain't Judeo-Christian is a demon apparently in this book. It's just, you really like, wow, she really went there. So the annotation here is Torn Garsuk, which has many other spellings based on approximations of regional dialects, is again not strictly a demon, but rather an Inuit deity whose native lands are the skies and caves of Greenland and some northern parts of the North American continent. In Dictionnaire, he is depicted as a bear, and Colin de Plancy notes that he also may manifest as a one-armed man. According to the writings of polar explorers in the 1800s, Torngarsuk was a deity invoked by the Angakuks, I don't know, figures analogous to the shamans or medicine men of other native cultures. Of the Inuit peoples, when villagers grew ill enough to require mystical intervention, those people, the shamans and medicine men, carried a bottled familiar with him at all times. And the familiar spirit acted as an intermediary between the physical world and the spiritual, carrying the Angasuk's request to Torngarsuk and returning with the god's reply and or blessing. The inspiration here is, although Tungarsik is, by all accounts, a benevolent deity who very often will assist the Angakuks in healing those who are ill, many Inuit traditions also focus on the power of positive thinking to combat ill health. A hunter or angler who is strong of mind will, it is said, be strong of body as well. Okay. And should never need to see Tongarsuk until it is time to be led to the land of plenty. Divination here is focus on strength and positive thinking even when in poor health. And again, I feel like that's sort of related to this trial of air that I'm in now. Because well, then this trial of air could have started in like November. So is this a trial of earth that I'm in? I'm like, wait. Well, this trial of air I've been in, I think this trial of air started in November for me. Whenever all that World War III stuff started trying to go down, it's like, girl. It was like, dude was bound and determined to make something happen some kind of way. We didn't get the war initially. It's fine. We ain't gonna go all the way into it. So that has been running behind everything. My faith in humanity being restored, even though it is what it is. It's like, okay. But he brings medicine. He's a good dude. And people would have like little bottled familiars that would seek him out. What's the card we have over here? Illumination. It came back out. Illumination came back out. Illumination is expression, positivity, and joy, and inspiration. Positivity and joy and inspiration and illumination, with Torngarsuk just coming out saying focus on positive thinking. I was like, okay, girl. Continue to see the brighter side, because, you know, I'm also manifesting in some ways the collective that I find myself a part of. And just like if I choose to focus on the negative in life, I'll get negative. If I choose to focus on the negative within people, I'll get the negative from people. And in the past, I was primarily focused on the positive in people, right? And I was like, World War III is stupid, and like literally nobody wants this, so why would we go down this path as a collective? And we didn't. And now I'm like, what number is that? 23. One after the Ice Queen. Work. But yeah, it's about positive thinking and stuff. And that's something that I was kind of sort of talking to my mom about it. And like it said, like they knew that the warriors and anglers, if they were of strong mind, then they would also be of strong body. And I've noticed that as I've done a lot of mental things, my body is just like, it's doing well. I've just been like dropping weight, not really doing it. Okay, there are some things I'm doing, but nothing really super intentional. A year ago, a little over a year ago, last summer, my taste buds just changed. Before I started doing a lot of my work, like I hated the taste of like vegetables and stuff like that. But then all of a sudden one day I don't mind vegetables, and so I started eating better. Not all the time, but now I can eat vegetables. I went to my friend's place and had vegetables like every day. I was basically vegetarian, and then we had a little bit of chicken, buttered chicken. It was so good. It was so good. Oh, that buttered chicken was so good, and I tried to recreate it here, and it just was not the same. It was not the same. But it's fine. I'm gonna make another attempt. I got a whole bunch of cans of tomato puree. I still got the spices, and I still got some cream. So we gonna make this gravy, and we gonna make it do what it do. Anyway, as I was doing things mentally, my body just naturally started performing better. And I think a lot of times we look at the physical body as, our body is a temple and we're made in the image of God and stuff like that. I don't think we give enough attention to our mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies, because the physical body, has a sort of consciousness of its own. And if you take care of all of the things that are stressing you, if you take care of all of the mental and emotional turmoil, as you mentally, emotionally, and spiritually do better, your body will also respond. And so it's not that we don't have to, care for our bodies, but the body kind of sort of takes care of itself in some ways too. Um, and like it said, when you're of strong mind, there are certain illnesses that I guess you don't necessarily have to worry about getting. But, and then the Queen of Swords is right here too. So let's read Illumination, and then I guess we'll get final cards, because that's something that I also do. So, illumination, again, is expression, positivity, and joy, and inspiration. This image is connected with the green-blue color ray. The celestial interpretation here is: illumination resonates to expanding and illuminating the essence of soul light. This sacred ray inspires all beings to always shine luminously from the heart. It's a reminder of the heart's capacity for full expression, and to honor this origin of brilliance that arises deep within the soul. This radiant ray continually pulses regenerating waves of bliss directly into the heart space for ultimate replenishment. The oracle interpretation here is: lift yourself to a higher frequency of joy. You need to express this more fully. Allow the inspiration of nature, the elemental realms, and love to carry you forth in your next endeavors. It is not a time to be looking at your situation from a head space, but rather the heart space of joy, laughter, and fun. Be positive and know that the light you seek is already inside of you. Your light wants to shine and be allowed complete freedom of expression. The companion crystal here, it's green aventurine and dolomite. Green aventurine, that's interesting. Companion essential oil is Idaho balsam fir. Idaho, you the hoe. We all the hoe. I'm sorry. It told me to laugh, okay? So I'm not sorry. We all the hoe. Alright? Somebody like, speak for yourself. I'm not a hoe. I ain't a hoe either. But, with the right person. Anyway, I got Taurus. I got Taurus heavy in my chart, okay? And also I got some Scorpio in there, so well, my Pluto is in Scorpio, so that's a whole generation of people with that. So the last card from the Energy Oracle cards, it's the Crown Portal, number 8. This is Divinity, Unity, and Separation. Bottom of the deck is this Exile? It's the Promise, and the Promise is 38. It's Soulmates, Attraction, and Partnership. Okay, man, holding the heart. I see you, but where you at, though? The Crown Portal and the Promise at the bottom of the deck. Aw, that's so cute. That's so cute. We saw the Father and Mother of Wands. Also, earlier today, I saw the Father and Mother of Cups. Came out with the Lovers. I saw the Emperor and the Empress together. The Man Holding a Heart kept jumping out like yesterday or whatever. I was like, oh, snap. He came out like 3 times. I was like, okay, I get it, but like, where you at, though? Hello? He's like, I'm on my way. Don't worry about where I'm at, because I'm going to be there when I'm there, and you better be ready. You better be ready when I show up, too. Because you've been talking a big game, mister. He's like, I'm ready. I'm ready. You ain't got to worry about me. You better be ready yourself, sir. Anyway. Spirit's like, we about to bring this back together. And we ain't got time. Y'all ain't got time for that foolishness that went down last time. It's like the foolishness that went down last time needed to happen so we could come into all of who we are. And like the card said, like there's this light inside of you that's begging to be shown. Well, part of my light is that shadow. And that shadow that can be a little bit harsh and overly critical and analytical. But it's like it's critical and analytical enough to see it, but I can still go about it in a loving, caring, kind, and compassionate way. And that's, again, something else that I'm learning in this space. So, and it comes through as an energy of non-judgment. And again, like, I never really judge anybody, but I feel like I don't think it's unfair for me to get upset if someone is not aligning to what it is that they want. I don't think it's unfair for me to be upset if, there are certain universal laws that are being violated. But again, it's not for me to put all of that on an individual person either. Because a lot of people are kind of sort of just, it's like you are where you are. A lot of us are products of our environment. And until we decondition and reprogram ourselves, it's like that kind of continues to be the case. Right. So it is what it is. It is what it is. Final card from the Demon Tarot, please. I'm glad I got all good ones today. Even though that devil came out real early. I'm like, girl. And it's like, well, you set up some of these tests for yourself. And it's just like some certain things in the world that maybe that's also it. It's like it's been revealing the chains that some people are tied to. I'm like, but then I look at it and I'm like, well, you can't be upset or mad with people if they have these sort of chains and these limitations when their whole world, the environment, is kind of sort of forcing them into it. And then we come into these spaces where even when we do liberate ourselves, we still carry around some of this default prison programming. And it distorts the truth of all that is. And so if you tap into the frequency of things, if you are granted with that ability, if you have that ability to tap into the frequency, you can tell when things just don't line up. It's like, I hear what you're saying, and you know this more than I know this, but what you're talking about and the way you're going about it or the way you're speaking about it, there's an energetic mismatch. It's not lined up. And one of my friends, she recently said the same thing, and I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like that's such a gift. I feel like it's such an ability. We'll read them. I'm only going to look at the divination. Bottom of the deck is Cerberus, guard dog of the underworld, talking about Iacus, Rhadamanthus, and Minos. There's the guard dog. We already talked about the judges. And I guess I should clarify, I'm no one's judge, jury, or executioner. I just, it was also interesting that they said that, Rhadamanthus had this integrity that was unshakable. And I think some people would probably think I'm a little bit unfair or a little bit too harsh. But if I'm going to be involved with somebody, it's going to be decent people. I don't have time to be involved with indecent people because I don't have time to be rolling my eyes and frustrated with people I'm supposedly calling my friends. And again, it's not judgmental. It's more so like the way that we treat people. Like if people can't treat other people with respect and dignity, that's one of the quickest ways to just like get under my skin. And one of the things, it's like, no tea, no shade. I would have certain people talk to me and be like, I'm not racist, but like, blah, 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 Asian people. And I guess since they think they didn't say black people to me and I'm black, that I wouldn't have taken it that way. And they did preface it with, I'm not racist, but I'm like, you really think, like, even though I'm not Asian, I'm still not comfortable with this. I ain't got to be Asian to be uncomfortable with this. And I'm like, if it ever gets there, it's like, Now, like, if you have a genuine, like, question about culture, it's different if it's a cultural question. But then again, like, if neither one of us is from that culture, hello. But these just, like, general blanket statements, girl, I'm like, just because it just rubbed me the wrong way. And people who don't treat like they waiters or whatever with decency, that don't rub me the right way. I'm just like, can we look at people as people, please? It don't matter what they look like, where they're from, or what their occupation or what job they're doing right now, because what you're not doing is going in the back and flipping your own burgers, and you're not serving yourself your own food. You came here so someone else could do it for you. The least you could do is have some gosh darn respect. And it's just like, people really, really come into this entitlement. But you're not so entitled that you ain't gonna go back there and do it yourself. And then over here, some people get paid in tips. It's like, these people should be paid to deal with people like you. They should get tips and be paid the minimum wage or a living wage. They should get both. Teachers, they deserve more because they dealing with your kids. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. Let's calm down. See? And just like that, we're cool. I mean, guys. We have Leonard Leonard Melcom, and Leches. Girl, I don't know. We'll look at Leonard first and then Melcom, and we'll see. I guess I'll read the inspiration. I'll do both. Because sometimes it's like, I don't know, it seems like it's a little off. Leonard Leakes, or Lechius, Lechius? I don't know. So the inspiration here, Colin de Plancy notes that the Lechies use their gift of imitation to lure travelers off the beaten path and deep into the forests, where they would then tickle the travelers nearly to death. Hold up. The Lechies? Yeah, these probably Lechies because they sound a little lecherous. A little bit. They would tickle people nearly to death. That reminds me of one of my uncles. He would tickle us, but it would hurt. And so we would laugh out of pain. And it's so, because usually, like, if you're in pain, you're not laughing. But at least I would laugh out of pain. And he just loved to tickle people, but it hurt. And I'm laughing out of pain, and he think I'm laughing because it's funny. And I'm like, ow, this hurts. This is not enjoyable. Shout out to my Uncle Louie, y'all. So, Colin de Plancy notes that the Lechies use their gift of imitation to lure travelers off the beaten path and deep into the forests, where they would then tickle the travelers nearly to death. This is not really the most terrible of threats, but there you have it. There you have it. The Lechies are protectors of the forests and strongly believe that humans should not intrude into the natural spaces, but they are not terribly violent in their methods of punishing offenders. Nevertheless, one wonders if they might not have better luck trying to discuss their reasoning instead of attacking humans. No matter that, their method of attack is more annoying than dangerous. Here the divination says, beware of taking personal campaigns to extremes, alienating potential allies by forcing strong views on others in destructive ways. Was not expecting that, but it lines up. And that's why I'm practicing non-judgment, or I'm toning it down. It's like I can use my voice and not necessarily go to extremes, right? That's interesting. Next is Leonard. Leonard. Is that Malcolm? Nope, it's not. So Leonard says the inspiration here is Colin de Plancy notes that Leonard is not a charming or kind-hearted daemon. In fact, his demeanor when summoned outside of the Sabbat is very dreary and unlikely to answer questions. It is only a larger gathering. It is only at larger gatherings that he acts the part of a leader and high-ranking official of hell. It would seem that the alleged acts of prostration performed by the witches in his company are simply a part of a ritual instead of any sign of actual respect or honor. The divination here is beware of fawning for attention from authority figures or superiors for no other reason than their position. So here it's about be political, but not too political. Here it's about don't be kissing boots of authority figures just because they authority figures. This is very interesting. This was Leonard. That's very interesting. Did not expect this, honestly. But I mean, I guess, hey, that's the system. And who maintains the system? And who does the system benefit? Pretty much nobody. Even the people who benefit from the system don't benefit from the system. Not really. The inspiration behind Malcolm, it may be an odd thing to consider hell having paychecks, but if you think about it, there are probably quite a few civil servants working the files and admissions to the place. Of course, some of those positions may well be carefully chosen punishments, but given the alleged size of the place, there must certainly be paid staff as well. Imagine the chaos without an organized budget, and Melkheim becomes a very important member of the infernal hierarchy. Focus on budgeting and frugality. So here's their accountant. Oh my gosh. That was interesting. Not what I expected at all. I don't know what I expected. I honestly don't know why I expected. I still don't fully know why I bought these. There was this one dude that I went to the store with, and I kind of sort of got these because this is more of his thing, and we don't even talk no more for good reason. I do still. It's like he's one of the people that I'm like, I hope he's okay, but also at the same time, I don't necessarily want to open that whole can of worms either. You know what I mean? So it's fine. So with Lechis, we got beware of burning potential allies or potential bridges. Also, a little bit of a lack of communication. But I feel like, and then we have this accountant here, which is all about budgeting. And then we have this here, which is all about sort of the pomp that goes behind. How long have I been live? I feel like I've been live for a minute. 3.5 hours. Okay, yeah. No one will watch this. My secrets are safe. I'm just. It's not really any secrets, really. Like, Russell went full into it. I'm like, girl. But again, I think I'm in a slightly different phase. But, you know, maybe this will help somebody? Question mark? I don't know. I should have really came in with a plan. I kind of sort of had a plan. The plan came to me, but I decided to not do it for whatever reason. I guess that's also the energy of devil's advocate. Right? There are certain people who are paid to be clowns. Right? We hire clowns. And there is, I think, actual clown college. And, you know, some people are trained, classically trained clowns. And it's not necessarily to always sort of look at the performer. Sometimes it's to look at the people watching the show. Like, really? Like, this is what you find entertainment in? Like, no judgment, but this is not a great program. Not a huge not a huge not a huge fan of mindless suffering and stuff like that. So, you know, not my cup of tea at the very least. Um, and so there's the energy of the paid staff. There's the energy of it's like there are the people who kiss the boots. There are the people who wear the boots because it gives them a paycheck. And then there are the people who kind of sort of play into it by carrying on that extreme. But I don't feel that it's a bad thing to try to hold, not hold someone accountable, but to like try to get someone to recognize the parts that they play. But it's also, again, to not do it to the extreme, I guess. There's an energy of extreme. Isn't, does this go here? Yeah, this goes here. Okay, nice. We'll get a last one over here. Man holding a heart, feel free to come out again if you so desire, if you so choose. But yeah, that was really interesting. I was like, be careful that you ain't kissing the boots of authority just because they authority, because that will have you wrapped up in some stuff that you don't want to be wrapped up in karmically. Because just because it's law don't mean it's right. Don't mean it's right. Don't be complacent. Is that who this? Raphael! That ain't the man holding the heart, but hey, Raphael, close enough. Bottom of the deck is Storm Warning. Oh my gosh. Storm Warning and fourth chakra Archangel Raphael. I know that energy all too well. All too well. It's a lot. It's like when your heart really opened up for the first time in a long time and it just floods you and you're just like, oh my gosh, this is a lot. Now, if you've been self-medicating and sort of reducing the impact of that, eventually you're going to have to stop and you're going to have to feel all of it. So just feel it. Just let those storm waters wash over you. Allow your truth to submerge you and not hide from the depths of it. Because, you know, it's going to be what completes the cycle of that heart opening. And I think it's also important that, you know, it's just, I don't know, have a heart, you know? Just have a heart. I feel like people just need to have a heart. And I'll just get the last card over here. Ooh, that was a good one. Okay. Oh, it's been hours. It went all the way on the flow. Bottom of the deck. Is this Bina? Yeah, it is Bina. Left eye knowledge. That's the left eye. Bina. Bina. The card that fell on the floor is a Chakma. It's Aestabus, Angel of Divination. I'm actually going to read him. Divination is what we've been talking about today, isn't it? Hasn't it been? Let's see what Aestabus is all about. Aestibius. It's right here. Aestabus, right on top of Simikiel, Angel of Divination. You've called its name, and so it has come. But you do not command what is foretold. Aestabus can only be an uncertain ally in these mercurial times. Aestabus reveals the ever-shifting rhythm of the skies and beckons us to observe the alignment of signs. Something is seen in the clouds, in the leaves, in the shadows, something as glorious as fate. You observe something that could not, must not be real. Curiosity is your call to action. You are compelled to go. Signs are sacred geometry, a cup of tea, and a falling star. Oh, so something about correlation and seeing the signs and the reasons and the meanings behind the signs. And that's one reason why, I don't know, I don't necessarily associate paper and ink and plastic as evil. Well, I guess it depends on the whatever. But it's all about association anyway, right? And it's all about metaphor and things that stand in the place of other things. It's just like flipping a coin, right? You can assign something to heads, you assign something to tails, and then you flip the coin. It's not necessarily completely that easy and that simple, but that's kind of sort of how I view it and see it, um, in some ways at the very least. And so there's one last deck, and then this extremely long video will be done. There we go. I was like, hello? It's me. I was wondering if after all the years you lied to me? I don't know what she said. Okay. So from the SKT, I want 2 cards so we can do an I Ching. I didn't do any I Chings. I want to I Ching the... Well, that's probably like Double Earth. Double Earth is Divine Yin Energy. So let's get 2 cards, please. 1 hot this time. 2 cards, please. There's the first one. 1 more card, please. 1 more card, please. 1 more card, please. Just one, just one. Even if it's a page, I ain't pulling an extra card. 1 card, please. 1 card. 1 card, please. 1 card. 1 card, please. 1 more. Thank you. The World. New World Order. Bottom of the deck is Archangel of Healing. Love her. Oh, I'm sorry. So, the Vagabond in the World. Okay, I thought I saw something in the cobblestones. Wait, that's a painted glass window. Those are the cobblestones. That's the 7-leafed lotus flower. The 2 pillars. Earth. The beggar. The vagabond. The meek will inherit the earth is immediately what popped into my mind. And what is that related to? What scripture? Where is that? In the Bible. That's the book for me. The meek shall inherit the earth. Let's see. Where is it though? Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Matthew 5:5. Matthew 5:5. And I believe Matthew was the first book of the New Testament. I could be wrong. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Yeah, I think Matthew was the first one. Matthew 5:5 is the 5th verse of the 5th chapter of the Gospel of Matthew in the New Testament. It is the 3rd verse of the Sermon on the Mount, and also the 3rd of what are known as the Beatitudes, or the Beatitudes, or the Beatitudes. Beatitudes, let's see. Content. In the King James Version, blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are the gentle, for they shall inherit the earth. And that's it. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. And I feel like that's kind of sort of this energy. Some things are about to change. And also, I guess for me personally, or for us or whoever, it could be an end to this cycle of wandering without a place to go, with no place to call home. Nobody to call my own. So sick and tired of being cold and alone. I'm lonely. Want anybody hold me? I'm sorry, that was unnecessary. I do want to look at the other one real quick though. Well, let's see. That's Earth and Mountain. So that was Mountain over the Earth. So really quick, Mountain over Earth is number 23, and it is Patience, I think. Partition. Mountain over Earth is Partition, and that was the I Ching for me. Let's read it and see. That's the Demon and the Archangel of Mysteries. Partition split in division. This is Bo. The force at large is that of disintegration, of splitting. Dark undermines the light. Yin undermines the yang. However, it is not a direct means of overthrow. The inferior outnumber the superior. When you are outnumbered, respond with stillness and devotion to the mountain. Wisdom versus cowardice is often an issue of timing. Being the mountain for now is wisdom, not cowardice. It is not the right time to act. There are no advantages to proceeding in your endeavor. Rule a broad foundation. Be generous and benevolent. And that's the energy I was in for a long time, I guess. Just sitting, not really saying anything, because again, it's all about the timing, and the time, I guess it wasn't yet the time for me to speak. And now it is. Now I'm coming into this phase of my lesson. So, ending this with the Five of Pentacles and the World. Is this the same thing? This is Double Earth. And Double Earth is that divine yin energy, I'm pretty sure. Yep, it's number 2, Supportive Power. Supportive Power and Divine Yin. This is Kun. In the beginning, there is darkness and confusion. Yet deep in that darkness, attainment awaits. The way to success for you is by being receptive and yielding. Yielding is the true way to lead. No need for greater ambition at this time. Be content and at peace with what you possess. Harness the force and power of soft earth. Like the earth, the sage accepts the character of all for better or for worse, and nurtures all with compassion without exception. So maybe also be a little kinder. Whatever. A little bit. And then, well, I guess the Archangel of Healing is down here. So it's like your compassion and kindness in the face of whatever. It could be all of the healing that somebody needs. And sometimes I come across people and it looked like they sound like they're having a bad day. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to shine on you because you're not going to infect me with your bad day. And then by the end of the interaction, they lighten up a little bit. And I'm like, thank you. And they're like, thank you. I'm like, yes, you're welcome. But anyway, that could also be, again, it said the meek will inherit the earth, right? Sorry. Diggany. Rel Dagony. That's a death rattle in French. That's how you say death rattle in French. Rel Dagony, apparently. Yes, what else was I gonna say? I didn't get a final card from these, did I? I just put them away. No, it was the Four of Swords. I think that's it. With that double yin energy, I feel like the space that we've been in, it's going to be the things that we receive. And if you've been in a good space, you're going to receive good things. And it's like when we learn to appreciate what it is that we have, we stay in that energy of appreciation when we're given more. And there are some people who get lost in the stuff when they go from not having stuff to having stuff, when they go from lack to abundance. And it's like they, in some way, sometimes people can keep that lack mentality even if they're no longer in a lack situation. And so it's all about, with that vagabond, appreciating things that you have as they are. I don't know. All right, this was a lot. I don't know if this necessarily fulfilled whatever I was going for, but it is what it is. And I feel like it ain't even, well, I don't know. Anyway, all right.